Hello, I'm Ashy. Today I have Wa.
Hi, we were roasting Ashy.
Yes, I was getting roasted. I also have Dez.
Help! I'm still being dragged to these.
Yep, held hostage.
Welcome to this prison. So,
Yes.
today we're going to talk about some megafaunas
Dinosaurs, dinosaurs, dinosaurs!
and add them
I
to
love
this tier
dinosaurs.
list. So, how
They
these
may or
boys...
may not apply. It depends on how your DM is, to be fair.
Fucking true.
Some DMs hate allowing Megafauna and dinosaurs, and I don't understand why, because they are objectively cooler than just
And
animals.
while I can explain it right here, some DMs hate fun and power in the player's hands and want everything to be as remote as it, like as streamlined as it can.
Yeah, I
That's
know,
why
I've had one
5e
of those
exists.
DMs. Fucking Mr. You know what, I'm not going to badmouth people I've played with before.
But anyways, I also don't really get the hit on the dinosaurs because, having looked through them, they don't seem that much more powerful than your standard animal companions. Like, a lot of
There's
these...
some
A lot of these boyos could go toe-to-toe and win.
there's some outliers.
There are some outliers.
There are some fucking outliers that are just monumental stat stakes. You know this.
Yes.
Okay.
But
They're
yeah.
gonna end up in S.
Running some of these numbers, our boys here, the Megafauna, they have about twice as much as far as the average of natural armor goes. They've got, significantly more natural armor just across the board. Their strength actually starts lower than most animal companions, but they ramp up to being higher on average. Their dexterity is actually pretty average. Pretty close to looking at with the previous animal companions. Their constitution, they start averagely lower, and they get about the same average after advancements.
Sure.
So they start weaker in general with more natural armor, but get stronger or about the same. So starting this list off, we have the Allosaurus. It starts at medium, it advances to a large 7th level. Allosaurus in function is very similar to the large cats. They gain grab and pounce later on. It does not state whether or not the grab is limited to bite or claws, and bite and claws are both common vectors of grab. Therefore, you can extrapolate that as probably 3 grabs. And it's got pounce.
Well,
It is missing the rage.
Allosauruses, as a dinosaur, they basically use their entire body as a weapon to take down sauropods. They had angry toenails. They had actually, generally not T-Rex cannot wank arms. They had pretty decent arms. And they had serrated reverse steak knife teeth. So yeah, they can grab with basically anything they damn well please.
You know what? Fair enough.
That is how an Allosaurus was built. They're a pack hunter. And you know where Ark with the Deinonychus, where they jumped stuff and latched on? Allosaurus did that shit. They're just bigger.
That's actually very terrifying to consider.
Yeah, a pack of Allosaurus was pretty much the scariest thing you were going to get around the. I think they were Cretaceous era. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Point is, yeah, they were the apex predators as a pack. People focus on the Rex and stuff. No, Allos were up there.
Yeah.
I think it's because everybody looks at packs and goes, "You're weak sauce." 1v1 me, bro.
Again, anybody who's played Ark knows that ain't true.
Yeah, but the only people that can play Ark are also people who have like the Starship Enterprise to install all of that shit. Because the base game is like
700 gigs. Yeah,
yeah.
it is. So I haven't installed it. I sort of needed. I wasn't buying a whole new hard drive to install it on.
I got my friend to give me a second hard drive just to install that shit, and it took up the whole hard drive.
I'm looking at my
and then you hated
hard drive right now.
Yeah.
You did get abandoned by me though, so.
Yeah. So Allosaurus.
Rar.
So
It's
like
fast.
I said, functionally it's kind of like a large cat. Its strength is about the same. It's like a point lower, but it does get that big L +8. So what's the difference between 22 and 23? Not very much. Dex starts off respectably. It drops down to the advanced average, which it's a strength-based creature, so The extra dex is nice for AC. Doesn't matter overall. It is kind of squishy, which is kind of its drawback. It is squishier than the large cats, but it has more natural armor. So that's kind of the trade-off.
It's actually got a Wiz 15. It might be able to have a respectable-ish will save as far as animal companions go.
Absolutely.
Give it a headband, and then teach it to be a monk, like those harpies and that mummy.
Like those fucking harpies. I
And
mean,
that
it
bear.
makes sense. As a pack hunter, it filled the role as wolf, so having higher wisdom means its survival skill for tracking is actually a couple of points above what you'd expect.
Can we also just talk about this this pretty high charisma there? Like 10 charisma out the box.
They're a charismatic dinosaur, what can I say?
They're a very pretty dinosaur. So where should we place these? I think they're on par in side grade to large cat. But do you think they belong in S tier with large cat?
It's got pounds. Fucking hell! It's got
grab pounds. It is missing
pounds.
rake.
I think it goes in A tier because then we're going to get to stuff like the Rex with its plus 60 to grab.
Yeah, no, I kind of want to put it in A tier because while it is kind of a side grade to large cat, the thing that hurts it for me is the fact that there is a lot of DMs out there that will say no to it. Whereas you could just pick a large cat that nobody can say no to because that's just a default animal.
So are we actually going to qualify these rates? Like, is this entire dinosaur section going to be, it could be S tier, but it's risky to even try and want it?
If it's a direct side grade to one that already exists, like this one's kind of a direct side grade to cat, yeah, I'm definitely going to use that.
Because someone's going to say, because basically your suggestion is the DM's going to say, well, why don't you just have a big cat?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's necessarily better. It is
like if this was better than the cat, then I absolutely would have said like, no, this is S tier, even if the DM would possibly say no. But
yeah, it's fair.
So your logic is we're going to bump it down a grade because a stickler DM will see that it's just a
this is big cat at home.
Right, okay.
Big cat.
Do I want to agree with this assessment? No, but I'm going to. Okay, fine. All right. High A then.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm thinking like since it's basically an S tier creature that's working with people's emotional like, shit, I don't want you to have a dinosaur.
So
because while you're having a cool balanced dinosaur, we're gonna have some jackass down the road who's gonna want 3 T-Rexes and 3 more fucking T-Rexes.
Well,
no
we've been there. We can do that.
I know.
We've talked about this before.
See, it's because of Waz and Ashes that the rest of us can't have nice things.
I'm sorry. Sincerely.
Oh, like when my warlock got called out, where it's like Tiny's trying to convince his friend Pathfinder isn't about having plus 30 to your skills at level 1. That's just a joke, and I just slide my warlock in and go, by the way.
I mean, I still like that in the last game I managed to Pathfinder initiative.
Yes, you did.
Oh no, I rolled a 1. I only got a 30.
Yeah.
No, I think it was like a 29.
Oh yeah, you were almost 30. You were like
yes!
touching the cusp of 30, trying to reach 30 before the end game.
Yeah, your initiative. You Pathfindered initiative. I Pathfindered will saves.
I could have absolutely hit 30 if I had just gotten the money to get her weapon made out of that material, or to get dueling added to it. It would have added a +4. She'd have done it.
Man, I love this fucking game.
It's because of people like us that 5e exists.
Yeah, but
are we the problem?
Well, no, because then they decide to make 5th edition and no one likes it. Everyone's fucking off to Pathfinder 2nd edition, which, to be fair, might also be our fault.
Yeah, but Pathfinder 2nd edition made some really questionable choices that I haven't even played the game, but I've heard the horror stories of Ashley being in a campaign, and I'm just like, I don't wanna.
I've played it as well. I played it from a level 1 to a level 18 druid, and they made all the mistakes Pathfinder 4th edition did, essentially. Really hard-bounded accuracy.
Oh, yeah.
Hard-bound, yeah, it's like everything is scaled around bounded, and the players are designed to fail. It's the whole thing. It's like you only expect your spells to actually succeed when you hit the master proficiency around level 17, then you get nudged up above that level where you're expecting to get mid-level or fail results. All your spells in that game are designed for middling fail results.
Can I draw
Yeah.
us back to the tier list, please?
Yes.
The Amargasaurus.
In Ark, these can change their element from hot to cold and fire the spines on their backs,
The
like
rest is
mortars.
aggressive. No,
And also incredibly angry.
In Pathfinder, they appear to just step on you.
In Pathfinder, they're a cow.
I mean, okay, they got a slam and a tail slap, so they got two natural attacks. They sling their neck, I assume, and they slap you with a tail. Their
Yeah,
strength
they've got a
starts off
spiky neck.
low. They've got weirdly high dexterity. They're
So-
squishy as hell, in
All
my humble opinion.
dinosaurs that I've noticed start off as basically a baby one, which are basically designed for fast and hiding. They all just have really high dex, which just gets ripped out. Oh no, it does. It goes to 16 when it gets big. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Let's also keep in mind this thing gets big at 4th level instead of 7th level
Yeah, I know that.
with a +8 to strength, so it does get up to 19 strength.
This is a
This is good
This
for
goes-
early game. I feel
yeah,
like
it's a really
I
good
feel-
early game for that guy.
Like if your DM will allow you to trade your boyo out later on, I imagine this would be very nice as like a first pick.
I mean, between the D8 slam and D8 tail slap at 4th level, that you could throw ye old improved natural attack into both at some point. You do wind up swinging 2 greatswords around. It's not quite
I
draft
think-
tier.
I think the
But-
big issue, Des, with that suggestion is that when you've got an animal companion, you, as a
You're
character,
expected to be
so-
connected. Yeah.
You want to be connected to it. You're going, I'll take this and retrain it out at 7 for something better. Like, I don't like that mentality of, I'm just going to have these because they're convenient, then retrain it out later when something
Nods
else is
sagely
convenient.
and then points at poor Judy.
Well, I mean, that isn't the unfortunate scenario of just improved familiar.
That was planned, unfortunately for Judy.
I
But it's okay.
I
Judy
know.
is now like a super being.
who
True.
just appears to random people who need a temporary familiar.
Now, on that logic, though, Des, if it happens to die at some point, since animal companions occasionally fucking die.
Yeah.
They do. They're-
Actually, that's kind of the problem with animal companions. People like to point out, oh, wolves make amazing flank bots. Yes, they also make amazing raised dead sinks.
Yeah, they fucking die.
I mean,
So,
wolves are much tankier than this thing, though. They've got good constitution and good natural armor.
they
This
do.
thing has
but
pretty
animal
okay
companion.
natural armor, but
Yeah, but DMs also like to target an animal companion because it represents power on the battlefield that's not got quite as good saves or physical stats as a player in a lot of cases.
Let's and,
They're an
and
easy
even
target.
without that, even without the tactics of it, DMs will sometimes target an animal companion because it's more air quotes fun to take out the person's wolf or their dinosaur than it is to remove the person from the game until who knows when we'll be able to bring them back.
I guess there is the dramatic component, but even that feels bad. It's like targeting players' gear at that point, and that's not good. If you want to piss off players, you hit them in the wallet, or in this case, the dog. You
Yeah,
don't
but-
John Wick your players.
To be fair, I would much rather lose an animal companion or have like my weapon broken than being like, ah, shit. Okay, you're gonna be out for the next 4 hours, possibly longer, because we don't have a way to bring you back in this dungeon.
Look,
Yeah.
emotionally, I would have preferred Jack than Callus to have died.
understandable.
Mechanically, Jack is the one who's capable of resurrecting fucking dead gods. But emotionally, Jack would rather die than Callus. So I could just bring her back, but I put her through that suffering. No.
I mean, to be fair, Amala had the same kind of thing. Yeah, I could absolutely bring anybody back, and when most people died, it was like, yeah, shrug, whatever. But if Misery
Baubles
had
died
ended up-
again.
But if hell, when her own sister died, it's like, what is this? 3 times? Like, you've really got to keep a.
True.
But if Misery had ever died, it would have been one of those like, no.
Jack's been the same. So,
Yep.
this is a good early game, Dinosaur.
Yes.
Actually, very good early game. It might get outscaled later. There is options for maybe replacing. If it dies, get an upgrade. But
if you're gonna be playing a
Fucking hell.
low level one shot or one of those games that you know is gonna be like only going until like level 7, definitely a
God.
good pick.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're right. I say this is an S rank. Just, I think this is a S rank in those scenarios. I actually really
It's an
like that idea.
early game S rank, but if you're going for the long haul, I would say maybe
B. I'd say B.
B.
Late game.
B.
So
Because
you guys
while it
think,
is good,
do y'all want to split the middle and throw it into A or throw it into B?
Let's
I mean,
assume that they're going to be running an AP because that is the baseline of what Pathfinders. Yeah, I know everybody does their fucking own homebrew special snowflake campaign. I know, but let's just assume it's
oh,
AP based. Actually, if it's AP based, it's probably still a fucking A tier because it'll demolish the early game in an AP.
yeah. But I wasn't even
Me-
going to say anything about the special snowflake campaigns. What I was going to say is, haha, bold of you to assume that we'll make it through the AP before scheduling conflicts kills the game. The true BBEG.
Fucking true.
So
Let's go.
This
A.
is
I will say that 11 strength off of 2d6s is not very impressive early game, but are we throwing an A
but at
rank?
level 4.
Yeah, the level 4 is pretty good.
Yeah, but at level 4 it goes up to 19, and then you'll have a +1 to go somewhere. That's either going in con or strength.
Probably
it'll be
con
20.
knowing this thing, because starting with a base of 9
True.
is fucking tragic. You don't really even need higher intelligence until later on, because you're probably spending most of your feats on supporting what it wants to do early.
Oh, let's
It's-
also throw in the fact that it does gain trample, which could be absolutely hilarious when you're at level 4 and still dealing with goblins, and this thing just charges straight through the camp and like wins the battle.
You're not
True.
wrong. That is pretty funny.
This is true. It can just go for a walk and. Oh yeah. Okay, let's say it's like you're level 4. You're still fighting goblins, but the goblins with numbers. Maybe some of them have class levels.
hmm
It's just got its 20 or 19 strength. Yeah, it's actually capable of one-shotting most goblins, even if they're level 2 scaled.
By walking on them.
Yeah, it will
Yep.
just kill a goblin camp if it goes for a good swerve.
A very
Okay.
enthusiastic walk.
Fine. It's an A.
Alright.
This boyo is more impressive than I thought when I was looking at the stats at first, but after discussion, definitely an A.
It is a horde breaker, and it's very
And-
good at it.
And S if for some reason your tag campaign doesn't go past level 7.
Yeah,
Hi.
because it's definitely on the higher tiers of low power.
Oh, and here we go. It's your boy.
Alright.
It's
Enki.
your boy. Where my Anki at?
Enki,
I love these
massive
things.
level of natural armor, starts at medium, becomes large. One attack, the tail attack. It's a pretty good one. Starts off kind of weak at the d6, becomes a 2d6 at level 7. Starts off really weak at 10 strength, 14 dex, 9 constitution. Very bad stats to start. But you get the plus 8, so you go up to 18. You go up to 13 constitution, so still a little squishy, but stun.
It's got plus 11 natural armor baked into it. It's
Yeah.
not squishy. It's crunchy.
Yeah. Like
I'm
it
looking at
doesn't
that
have
HP
the
total.
Oh yeah, it doesn't have a massive amount of health to survive when you get through its armor, but it's one of those good luck getting through the armor.
Yeah. It's like, I hope you're rolling some fucking 20s, boys.
Or aiming for touch AC.
But let's be fair, all the
I mean,
stats and all of that can absolutely be forgiven for that 2d6 plus stun.
Yeah. The stunning tail. It's got baked in CC on hit.
Yeah.
That just
It's-
gets,
it's-
and it's got its own crit feat.
It's
Yes,
yeah,
it does.
it's got stunning blow every time.
It threatens to daze every time it connects, and if it crits, it can stun for d4 rounds. And it's a strength scaling DC, so you can pump its strength to make it massive.
Which
starts
to
off
be
pretty
fair,
low, though.
this is on a druid most likely.
Yeah.
You have ways to pump this thing's strength.
Here, infatten. Bulk it up.
Hell, give it lockjaw and make its tail a grab.
I think Lockjaw only works on bites or something. That said, if you can make that
Am I
tail...
thinking Strongjaw?
Give it a collar and make that collar give it things like
No. It says one of its natural attacks.
You could give that tail a grab?
You give the creature the ability to use one of its natural attacks to firmly attach itself to an opponent. Choose one of the creature's natural attacks, usually a claw or bite. It doesn't say you have to.
So what you're
Oh,
saying
no.
is you're turning it into like a Digimon. It has a clamp-on
Yes.
tail, or is it even more
Yes.
traumatic, where it just punctures something with its tail and sticks it
It could be
inside?
Hamachilatsu style.
That's
Yeah.
horrifying.
When its tail is just a chain chomp.
I don't. Okay.
So yeah, no, this is where my mind went. You can put Lockjaw, Strongjaw on it, and this tail is now one of the scariest things on the battlefield.
Not to mention slapping a collar on that thing with like what's the thing, thundering or hammer. You can absolutely up this blunt attack to
Yeah, you can impact it.
True.
impact, thundering. But then you run into the problem that Jakku Lee had. Haha! I have boosted this attack so much. Now I'm gonna roll my grapple, but it's already dead. Oh, okay.
That's
True.
not a
No
problem.
hugs.
Well, at
No
that point,
hugs.
it's not. Yeah, but at that point, it's not a problem. Your grapple and your follow up is contingency. It's not
Yes.
dead. You're fucking about to be.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So
So
because it's an Anki, and because it comes with Druid or Hunter, and the support that provides, S rank.
I don't know if it deserves to be an S rank when it spends the first 6 levels being actually terrible. Like, its only
I mean, to
redeeming
be
quality
fair,
before level 7 is +9 natural armor.
and that is also when the entire game itself is pretty abysmal to run, because you're still getting your powers, you're still getting all of your builds online. Like, it do hurt for those first few levels. As much as I do like the Anki, and I know you love it, Wah, I feel it's an A.
Are we? Are we also so now we have two problems with dinosaurs. We have DMs might not like them, which is a black check, and now we have another black mark, which is they're weak early.
They are really weak early.
Fine, fine,
I think we just broke
fine.
Wah's heart a little bit.
I I lost about 6% of my soul. Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay,
I'll make the concession of A. I was thinking it would be B tier just because its starting stat line is actually kind of unredeemable.
Right, but
Not
okay.
totally unredeemable. That +9 natural armor still means you can park it in front, and it's going to be able to absorb quite a bit of
True.
punishment.
It's
All
unfair
right,
to call it unredeemable. That +9 natural
but
armor is bulky, and if you give it heavy armor proficiency suddenly, you can give it massive armor. But yeah.
okay, but we've got to consider the following: that a lot of classes that are considered S tier rank, like the Omni all-powerful wizard, they're garbage early game. You've got the feared things that people rave about, garbage early game. A lot of things are garbage fucking early game.
Here's the counter argument: most martial characters, are powerful early game. This is a martial creature that is weak early game,
I mean, it's still attached to a fucking druid that can support
which is
him.
also weak early game.
I kind of disagree.
I mean, they got medium BAB and casting.
Druids are still versatile early game. They're on rogue and cleric scaling. They can still hit you.
Yeah,
Their spells are still good.
they just
I
don't
mean-
get a lot of them early.
To be fair though, early game you're low enough level and everything is low enough that even a wizard can probably like have a 1 in 4 chance of bopping you with his quarterstaff.
Yeah, I think the early game weakness isn't something to mark against it because everything's kind of garbage early game. But fine,
But
we're gonna go
when you
A.
compare it to other animal companions that are in fact online early and just get better.
because I
Like-
feel like the developers looked at this and looked at what they were giving it at 7th, and as they kept looking at it, they kept kneecapping it more and more because they were like, yeah, but at 7th level this thing's gonna be a fucking monster. So we kind of have to have it bad at early.
Like, its 7th level is really strong,
It's insane.
but it doesn't become a stat stick on par with some of the other stat sticks. Its biggest draw is that it can stun, and that is a hilarious effect to have on a hit.
I'm still gonna give, even though I know AC eventually just falls off. I'm still gonna give by level 7 just having +11 natural armor, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
if you've invested
That's
in giving this thing some plate mail barding.
That's extremely relevant at that point, yeah. Even then, like, I feel like when you have that much natural armor, you don't fall off. as
No,
long as you can
you just
support it.
you just
Well,
start
no, that's the thing.
scrunchy.
You do still have to support it, like,
Yeah,
because if you had that and just relied on that to coast till end game,
it'll
like
fall off.
you will hit
Yeah.
the point you're just gonna fall off. And I don't care what you say, it's not gonna fall off. Oh yeah, yeah. What was it when we were playing in that last dungeon and things having a plus what 50 to 70 to hit?
Yeah, that was my follow-up point. It's like if there's a thing that's designed to hit you, it's going to hit you no matter what you're doing, unless you're layering displacement effects, dodge effects, things that are percentage chance to miss that you've built up on top of armor, which you are really supposed to do for the most part. It's like playing Path of Exile. You need
Yeah.
layers of defense and layers of abjurations.
Like when I was watching some of those swings and going like, holy shit, if that thing rolls a 4, a Maya needs a 19 to parry it. It's like, okay. So the proper thing is get in there and murder it before it has a chance to swing back.
That's just late game Pathfinder though. It becomes mutually assured destruction at that point. That's just
Yes.
late game D&D.
Yeah, but it's just like, yeah, you will eventually hit the point where even if you're investing in this, if you didn't invest in displacement, you're done. But
All animal companions fall off by that at the very late stage though. It's the whole thing
yeah,
with the Titanoboa versus the Warcat. It's like at a certain point the Titanoboa actually has a bit more going for it in the extreme late game when it basically caps out around the 17 hit dice. But all animal companions fall off then.
yeah, like even this thing's vaunted stun is eventually going to hit the point where if it's a creature that's got a good fortitude save, it's gonna pass, and if it's a creature that doesn't have a good fortitude save, then it's 50-50.
I mean, that's also assuming you land a crit. I mean, there's ways to increase his
Well,
crit.
Well, no,
even the basic days is almost as good as a stun. It's not
Yeah,
as good as a
true.
stun because it doesn't force them
It's
to drop, but it functionally makes them where they can't do anything.
yeah,
That's
no,
actually true. I was thinking of
but
Dazzled for some reason.
yeah,
I'm
it's like
stupid.
you're eventually going to hit the point like where unless you're hard investing everything you can into pumping that DC to the fucking moon, there's a good chance that you're just not going to really see it come end game.
It's an X ability. There are things that interact with X.
Yeah.
You could
Well,
give it ability
extreme
focus, I think. There's an ability.
look, extreme endgame. All animal companions fall off. That is just
I
a
mean,
weakness of animal companion, but there is still
yeah.
a player attached to them.
I
Yes.
think if by end game your animal companion doesn't fall off, that is a boon for the animal companion to be considered. Not.
True.
It's definitely not something to count against them because most animal companions aren't as
Yeah.
good. Like what I was
Well,
saying, I
again,
agree.
they are still a class feature. It is still a class feature, and it is still supported by the user. Let's say you're running a hunter. The hunter's also pouring free stats into themselves and this fucker.
Yeah, you're not
Free
wrong.
teamwork fees just amplifying and amplifying and amplifying. Like if you are running an Anki, you might be running a druid, but all the good buffs are accessible to the hunter. So you run a hunter to support it in melee with your fucking Lucerne hammer or whatever the hell you decide to take. You're sharing teamwork feats that it's getting for free. It's getting its free stat boosts. I think in the hands of a competent, good martial, a druid or a hunter who wants to support the martial creature martially, at that point they kind of stop falling off. Yeah, they fall off under their own merits and their own stat block, but they are very rarely alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're investing in it to make sure that you're helping it team, it'll definitely last.
I mean, the rest of it you can make anything monstrous, anyways. I think we've talked enough about the Yankee.
I mean, you should have known the Yankee was going to be a big topic. It's
Yeah,
one
I
of the
did.
faves.
Well, okay, it's not necessarily talking about the Yankee either. We're talking about the general philosophy around having animal companions and how they should be ranked.
Yeah, because like this one, I do still feel the Yankee is an A because just objectively looking at it, the stun is nice, but it's not really like game ending. I feel it's A because its stats don't support it as well. My personal thought on it.
I mean, there's that entire thing where it can walk up to an enemy caster that's a bit out of position and go, and you're not doing anything. Walk.
True,
You
but
might even
if
grab it and walk off with it.
but if it's an enemy caster that's on its own, like that's out of position, I'm pretty sure like any animal companion can walk over and go, "Oh, mine now."
I suppose, but
The
so
the
I'm
cat's
just
gonna go bat the ball around.
On the strategic level of playing Pathfinder, though, if you're in an encounter, there's enemy caster, say it's a Skald or a Bard or even an enemy cleric of fucking Lamashtu Goblin or whatever, that's being a pain in the ass. Your party should be either trying to assassinate it or isolate it anyway. You're either using force movement, you're separating them with your own movement, getting
Oh,
things
yes.
into threat range to trip and stop. Like, as the entire dynamic of a battle goes, that you're not just meat walling forward and blending through, square by square.
Yeah, like
It's a great tool for switching that shit off.
what our party was doing last game was probably not very, but yeah, absolutely. You should be playing the tabletop war game like a tabletop war game.
Yeah. And the fact that it can walk up to something that has got these annoying abilities that it's doing from the back line, and if you can get it in there, it just goes bonk, fort save, bitch. Oh, you failed, you're dazed. You ain't supporting anybody. And I'm probably doing that again next turn. It's an off switch for casters.
Sure.
Let's go A.
All right. So next up is the Archaeopteryx. And,
I'm less impressed.
It's very bird coded.
D for bird.
I thought we were putting birds in F now.
F for bird.
F for bird.
F for prehistoric bird.
Do we actually have to talk about this, or is it just we're going over birds again that everyone's already listened to?
Okay,
mean-
it's got mildly better stats than average bird. It's still
Yeah.
bird.
It's
Cool.
only mildly better. Like a D4 bite, okay. It's small. It's not really fast for a bird in the air. Its natural armor is not good, and is even worse now. Strength low, Dex is middling, Con, eh. Con doesn't get much better. Dex doesn't get much better. Strength does not get better at all.
Don't birds typically get 2 talons over a bite?
Depends. Some do, some don't.
Okay, I was gonna say F minus for bird.
I mean, this is a proto-raptor, so...
Yeah.
Well, not a proto-raptor, a proto-bird from the theropods.
You know, looking at our not Allosaurus, the Armagosaurus there, and how good he is early game, and then looking at this as an early game companion, it's like, I understand flight can be powerful, but at the same time, oof.
Flight doesn't mean anything if you can't do anything with it.
Exactly.
F for bird. Next is a turtle.
The Archelon. Alright, not very fast on land, like all turtles. Pretty good in the water. Very high natural armor to start with. Respectable bite that gets better. Strength starts low. Dex starts low. Con starts low. So, kinda bad across the board there. And, yeah, extra natural armor, it goes from 10 to 12. A bite becomes a D8, so you can improve it to 2D6. You go up to 16 strength, 8 dex, 13 con. It's a very turtle. It probably belongs to the other turtles.
In
Where'd
its
the other turtles
standard
go?
campaign, this is fucking unusable, though.
Yeah, it's not. Very
Yeah, at
great.
least some of the other turtles are slightly usable in a standard campaign. This
Yeah, like-
thing, if you're not playing Skulls and Shackles,
Like this
and
napping
even
turtle
then-
having grab.
Why would you
Yeah.
take this in Skulls and Shackles, though?
because then it actually can move around and stuff, so it actually becomes slightly more usable. I didn't say it was good. I said it was usable.
Okay. I'm seeing plesiosaurs and mosasaurs and stuff like that down here, and I'm like, I think you're probably going for something like that.
I'm not
Or
that far
Bazzy.
down in the list.
I
I wasn't saying it's gonna go any higher than the other turtles. I just said that in Skulls and Shackles it might be usable, and outside of Skulls and Shackles, where there's not really much water, it isn't.
I guess.
Yeah.
I suppose.
So into D
I-
tier it
if you-
goes.
D for turtle. Arsinoitherium. Proto-rhino.
Yeah, we got a gore here.
We do.
Strength doesn't start very high. Dex starts low. Con starts actually pretty respectable for these boyos.
It goes up to 19 con.
Yeah,
It's actually
it's
pretty
kind of
tough.
thick. And the strength becomes respectable as well. because it goes up to 22, and it's got powerful charge, so it can do the charge thing. It can probably live with the other basic charge boys. I think most of them are living in B tier.
Yeah. I mean, it is just another rhino.
Yeah. The
Baluchitherium.
Baluchitherium. I think this is a Parasaur.
This is a... Well, no, a Parasitherium is a completely different thing, but they are related.
Oh, okay.
Proto-elephant.
Okay, so decent natural armor, gets better. You start from medium, you go large. It's got 2 hooves, so it's committing that cardinal sin. At least it's got a respectable strength score, and it's tanky, and it has trample, and that's about all it's going for. It's like, it is better than all the deers, but it has 2 natural secondary attacks. It has its only offensive attacks, and trample.
To say it's a tight, it is actually a massive wall of muscle and armored hide. I feel like this is a bit of a disrespectful stat block to it, but I think this might be living in C.
I mean, they
It might even be
disrespected
D.
things like the hippo and the rhino too, so.
Dude, they're so fucking dead.
I think the
And the
highest thing that
kangaroo.
this could live in is D. It has 2 secondary natural attacks.
Oh,
Its
that's true.
only redeeming attack is its trample. It's at least tanky. It's tanky and it can trample, so it can do the trample thing, but that's all it can do.
I'm gonna say, if
Yeah,
you
but-
wanted that, you go for an Amogosaurus.
I was about to say, but if you're really looking at this and going like it's tanky, like ignoring the trample, it's like there's a few things on here that are tanky that are just tanky-er.
Yeah.
And actually have chances to hit with their attack because of it being.
At least primary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
D tier?
Yeah. I want to rate it more because I like this as a creature, but it's just been done so dirty that it gets to live in the shit.
Yeah, its
Eventually
stat
we'll
line
have
got
to-
done bad.
Eventually, we'll have to make a tier list of just all of the animals and dinosaurs that they did dirty and where they should be.
Well, now.
I mean, a lot of them would just be up in S tier because they're massive walls of meat and primordial rage.
True.
You mean like the moose?
Yeah, the it's gonna win a fucking collision with a large vehicle.
Yeah.
The moose.
Yeah.
The Canadian knows all about that.
Oh yes.
Alright, so the Brachy.
The world's smallest fucking brachy.
It is the world's smallest Brachy. Its natural armor for these boyos is actually slightly below average, but better than most animal companions still. The attack strength of 2d4 isn't amazing, but it's D8 equivalent and more reliable. It goes up to 2d6 later, so that's fine. It's got a trample with a dice labeled as D8. Its strength starts low, its dex starts low, its con starts low again. It's a 7th level advancement, so it takes a while for it to get online, but when it does, it's got at least a reasonable amount of strength, and its con goes from 11 to 15.
There is something about this stat block being applied to one of the largest land animals to have ever fucking existed until you get to like Argentinosaurus and stuff, which are like this thing's 7th level advancement is the size of an actual just newborn one of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty oof.
It's because
They
I think that's
did the Brachy bad.
I think that's because they didn't want to give us huge companions again. That said, I mean, it's more usable than a lot of than some of the D tier things. But does it go into D tier because its stat line just starts bad? Do we put it into C tier, or do you guys think it's actually deserves better than
It's
C?
not a C tier though.
So D tier?
Yeah. This is another one of those things that just should be bigger and better and beefier. And so you could argue that balancing reasons it's like this, but there are just things that are better at it that exist in a semi-optional set of creatures that a lot of things are like, oh yeah, you've got to get DM permission for these. If you need to have DM permission for these, at least make them a little bit more realistic. Yes, they need to limit them to large size because they don't like huge companions, despite the fact that they should be.
I'm just gonna.
Most of these should actually be on that scale.
So hear me out. We'll just slowly pan our eyes back up to S tier, where we have the elephant / mastodon living, because they gave it one stat line for both those creatures.
True.
And now look back at it in D tier. It should be beefier and bigger, but it isn't.
Right. I agree with you. Like, I can see that there might be reasons that they've done this, but I disagree with all of them.
Alright, so the Brontotherium. Isn't that another rhino?
Yeah,
Essentially?
so
It's another
it's
rhino?
basically a rhino. It's a proto rhino.
Instead of having a gore, it has a slam, which isn't necessarily better than a gore, but okay. It's got actually really good natural armor. Strength starts
Yes.
low. I mean, strength starts average, I guess, but starts low. Dex starts. Who cares, honestly, about Dex for this creature? It's not gonna live on Dex. Constitution. I want to say low, but it's actually kind of the average for now. And it reaches at least respectable strength and respectable constitution.
That
Its powerful
wisdom,
charge
though.
is only listed as its slam. It has trample. So this creature does have a weirdness with its powerful charge in that it only lists the slam and doesn't actually list damage. Ergo, I guess powerful charge isn't actually any more powerful, unfortunately. Unless it's wanting to say it's slam squared, but that's not how that stat block works.
Well, if we go look at the universal monster rules and go look at powerful charge, the creature with a special attack makes a charge. Its attack deals extra damage in addition to the normal charge.
Yeah, but
I
every
think it
creature.
just
Where's
adds
the
its
damage
slam.
number? I
Well,
guess it
since
just
it
copies
says
slam. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Since it
Most
says
slam
slam,
damage.
it probably just adds its slam to it.
But if that's the case, if it's just powerful charge, it does slam damage. That means any bonuses you apply to that slam then becomes powerful charge. Since it just copies whatever blocker that the slam that triggered it is. Since it's not a set dice. So you could boost the slam to whatever the fuck stupid number you want, you powerful charge, and you apply it twice.
While I like that logic, a lot of creatures with a powerful charge also list slam and number.
Yes, this doesn't modify the slam, you modify the powerful charge. That's just how
So you're
that
suggesting
works
that
then.
the power attack, that if this thing has a power attack, that power attack should also apply to the powerful charge, like squared, because you get your slam
Yeah.
damage and then you get your powerful charge damage.
It just says slam. If the
Yeah.
slam does whatever damage it does, that's how much powerful charge does.
Yeah,
That's how that's written.
that's the problem with this being poorly written, because that is a logical extrapolation.
Yeah, I mean
It's
that's the only one that makes sense. Either that or well, no, the other thing that makes sense is oops, they forgot to write it down.
Oops, they forgot, which is what I'm kind of thinking probably happened.
They
But
foregore.
But they
anyways,
didn't. Therefore, it works like that. And
anyways,
I'm
where do
going
we
to
want to
abuse
place
that.
it? With the other slammy boys? Do we think it's as
I
good as
want-
the Gorthek, or should it live with the other powerful charge boys?
Because of how that's written, I want to put it on A. Because
Okay.
you can
Yeah.
do things with that.
Yeah, because of the way it's written, until there's some sort of errata, this thing actually just has some goofy stuff you can do.
Yeah.
An errata.
It's
This
A
thing
for
getting an
goofy.
errata? Lamau.
You say that like randomly. We don't just find things nerfed on our game.
True.
Yeah, there's just that one person who keeps going back and nerfing random shit.
Alright.
Please
so
play second edition. Nerf. Please come do second edition. No, we're just gonna unnerf it. Go fuck yourself.
Alright, so next up we have the Warble, or the Bull of Zegresh. This is one of them orky boys.
Which explains
Okay.
why its strength is so high. In like kinda.
Well, that's got.
It's got a respectable
Jesus.
strength considering what we've seen.
This
Okay.
boyo is one of those early game monsters.
It's good early game. It's not bad at late game because you get that 2d6 gore that you can turn into a 3d6 with improved natural attack. It's got that plus 8 strength going up to 23. It seems to be lacking powerful charge. It does have trample, and the reason that I used a moose is because the description of this thing is basically a bull with antlers.
When the orcs saw that, they saw the Canadian moose and they were like, "Ah, yes, warble."
This is what the Canadian moose should probably have been.
I will direct your eyes to the chat, and that is what it looks like.
I could not find a picture of this. This is the picture that I found for the Auroch, actually.
That looks like a yak. Yakety yak.
It does look very yak. And I think I used that picture for a yak. Or for something.
Maybe. Apparently, this is just a bull of Zagresh, according to Google Images.
Meh.
If you want to go the Oh, that's Nineveh. Never mind. Yeah. Well, apparently that's what Google Images says it looks like, and there we go.
It's
Those aren't
hard.
very antlery, are they?
It's hard to know. It's described as like its horns having a lot of points,
Oh, maybe that is it then. It
which
does
for
have
me
very...
it sounded a lot like its horns having antlers.
I mean, if it's got a lot
But
of points, it
yeah,
could also just be very jagged.
it could just be very jagged. It's hard to know. It's really hard to know because I couldn't find official art that was unique. Because I saw that art when I looked up Aurochs, I saw that art when I looked at the Warble, I saw that art when I looked up other things.
Aurochs don't look like that, though. Aurochs are just a creature. They're just massive balls.
Yeah,
They don't have ones like that. They don't have... I think that might actually just be a wobble.
maybe.
Because an Auroch is a fucking Auroch. Just a big ball.
Regardless.
Anyway.
Where should we place this boyo? He does have
It's
a big nasty attack.
It's
but
got a
that's
big
pretty much all
nasty
he's got.
attack. It's actually quite a good stat stick.
Yeah. So
Are we going to do good stat stick A, or are we going to go for B because it's just a good stat stick?
I mean, it's a good stat stick, but it's on par with the with our like Oryx, our cow.
Okay. Where is
Like-
that? Where do we put Aurochs and cows?
In B.
Oh yeah,
I think the cow is actually better than the Warble, unironically.
Hey, it's Ceratosaurus, the fucking thing that terrifies us on Ark.
Yes, with its horrifying screeches. And, okay, so we got some decent natural armor here. It's reasonably fast, medium to large. It's a 7th level advancement again. It's got its one attack that's a bite, but at least it's a scary bite, starting at a D8 and going to a 2D6. The strength starts not very high, dex starts high, con starts low, but it gets a +8 to strength, so it becomes a reasonable stat stick. Dex drops down to 15, which is still very good for an animal companion. And Constitution goes up to a 15, which is respectable for an animal companion. It's not great, it's not amazing, but it's still pretty good. However,
22 strength
it also has Blood Rage
and ferocity.
and Ferocity. Oh, it also has the trip quality
Oh wow.
from the baseline.
Yeah. I mean, if it's got trip as part of its stat block, then it just shouldn't it be like a wolf where it trips on it?
Alright, so... Oh yeah, and it has the ability to lose its shit, which I think is actually the probably more relevant thing. Because it can gain +2 strength and +2 constitution whenever it takes a hit. Well, the first time
I
you
also
hit.
believe ferocity means it's also got die hard, so even when you've killed it, it's not dead yet.
It has built-in Die Hard as well. Yes, you are correct.
Yep. I think we've got a... This is a bigger, angrier, loosey, is it? Oh my god, you can amplify the rage with this motherfucker.
The Blood Rage doesn't necessarily count as rage, from what I can tell.
Oh. Really?
Yeah, it's
That's a
not
shame.
Blood Rage or Blood Rage, and it doesn't have anything that says it counts as rage.
Damn. Well, okay, so we've got a bigger, angrier, ragier wolf. And the wolf is already S tier, so I think we've got to put him up there. Because this is now just an objectively bigger, angrier wolf.
I
It
feel
goes
like
S.
it's actually a worse stat stick than the wolf.
What?
I think the wolf had better stats.
22 strength? At 14 with a +8?
Let me go check. Let's pull up the wolf, shall we? Animals.
Wait,
Wolf is actually... Wasn't that in the Ranger Cavalier? Wolf at the... close to the bottom. Oh no, I'm actually wrong. I'm surprised I'm wrong. It is
not.
squishier than the wolf, though.
I mean,
Weirdly
true,
enough.
but you've effectively got a berserker animal companion that goes and just loses its fucking shit. and
So I
goes
guess the
nuts on
question is,
something.
does this dethrone the wolf?
If it's squishier than the wolf, I'd say no. But if you've got an option between I want a trip animal companion that does blah blah blah, you've got a wolf that you take because it's got some beef and heft to it, or you go, I'm going to take this because it loses its goddamn mind and that's really funny. I'd say it's a side grade,
Okay.
but it's going up there.
It's definitely one of those, like, for this particular case, there's room for both of them there.
Okay. No complaint about that.
I would take the Ceratosaurus over a wolf though.
Like, it's got...
Just the DM, just like you're in a goblin camp or whatever the fuck you're doing, bandits, and the DM just describes this dinosaur taking an arrow and just losing its mind is too funny to me. This
Yeah, but
every
that's
day.
only the level 7 advancement. It's
Sure.
not. It doesn't know how to get angry when it's a baby.
That's why I said
Yeah.
bandits. They're a bit better, a bit more competent than goblins.
Oof. Alright, so it'll live there. Chalico. Did it just
It's-
duplicate the token?
Maybe. Yes. There we go.
I'm just gonna. We've got duplicating Amolas all over again. Alright, Chalicotherium.
It's your boy you tame with beer.
It's the boy you tame with beer. Alright. We got a climb speed built in. So that might be something to consider. The attack starts off not great. It has reasonable natural armor. You get up to 20 strength. You go down to 12 dex. You go up to 17 con. Con is respectable, so it's reasonably durable. It's reasonably strong. The claw getting up to a d6 doesn't inspire much in me, but it does have a rend, so that helps it out a bit. You get an extra hit in there. You can basically consider it as having 3 natural attacks as long as it can consistently land both claws. And one of those is even...
for giant ground sloth horse,
Yeah.
I'm a bit underwhelmed.
I think you'll be a bit underwhelmed for a lot of the bigger boys here. Let's be honest. A lot of the bigger boys have like underwhelmed you.
Yeah, I mean, there is an absolute reason why the big 3 choices, as far as we're all concerned, is like we've either got the surprise picks like the Amargasaurus, but then we either go Anki, Fairy, Rex, or Spino.
Yeah. Alright, so our boy here, the Chalico. Would you place him A tier, B tier, C tier? I don't think he could go any lower than C tier, realistically. I feel like he's a B tier pick myself.
I'm not. I don't. It doesn't do. I don't think it.
It's got
there-
essentially 3
is there
natural
feats for
attacks. One of
rend?
them is a 1.5 strength modifier because that's how rend do.
There are
Its
feats for rend.
claws
I
don't hurt very much on their own, but it has respectable strength to actually multiply it with that rend.
Let's go B. I'm underwhelmed by this. I'm giving it a fucking stink eye, but
Objectively, a stat line, it's not terrible.
it's not. Yeah, okay. Deinonychus.
Okay, so I'm sorry to tell you, these guys don't get bleed and they don't grab onto things. What they do get is
Worse ferret.
up to 5 natural attacks, which is phenomenal. They don't start very strong. They start very dexterous, and they have a surprise amount of constitution at 17 baseline. They get a +2 later.
Very
They do
charismatic.
They're really durable for what they are. They don't have a lot of natural armor. Oh, they also get
Meaty,
pounce.
though. They are meaty though.
They're meaty. And
I
they
mean,
get to like
this
16
is-
strength.
This is like best shape shifter can take, so it makes
Yeah.
sense. And and let's not forget that pounce. They get 5 attacks with pounce.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a really angry fucking blender. It's like, oh, it only goes up to medium, and that just means it can fit in smaller places and pounce on you from there.
Yeah.
I think Deinonychus is an A tier. Frankly, it's just it's spam vector. You can give it its AMF with its additional D6 fire damage and 5d6 more fucking fire damage or
Where are these
whatever.
up here? They
Or
both
hell.
up here.
You can do crit fishing with them.
I think anything with 5 natural attacks is at least A tier. Like, a part of me was
Yeah.
tempted to say this might be even S tier because 5 is a lot of attacks just have natively. There's nothing with
I
more
mean-
5 natural attacks as far as animal companions go.
I mean, yeah, let's be fair. They may not be the most powerful attacks each like individually, but there is a lot of them.
And the 2
And,
talents are
like-
D8's baseline.
Yeah. I mean, I would not be against this thing hitting like the end of S tier. Just because it's the equivalent, it's the animal equivalent of a machine gun.
It's kind of spooky.
Like slap some multi attack on this thing and point at an enemy you want not around anymore.
I was just DMing someone. I was saying we're recording the dinosaur video, and she says, "Which dinosaur is the best dinosaur to shapeshift to?" Ask the experts, and it's like, we've just been talking about that. Deinonychus. Early access because it's medium. 5 natural attacks baseline. It's just good.
Yep. Hell, like I said, it's even the best thing for the shifter itself to go into when they have a choice. I give the big cat the second best, but Deinonychus is just like, yeah, that's just good.
I didn't really like Shifter for whatever brain reasons I have, but then I'm like, wait, Dinosaur Shifter. I think I like Shifter again.
Yeah. I mean, I think Shifter's actually pretty good.
I didn't say it's not good. I just don't like it for some reason. Because I know Dinosaur Shifter. I like it now.
I mean, I made a character based on it, and that character is pretty effective. Then I tried to replicate that character in Wrath of the Righteous, and it turns out Wrath of the Righteous is just trash at trying to do cool things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so Dinotherium. You remember these guys from Arc 2, I imagine.
Sounds like an element.
So, first thing, this is why DMs make settings with dinosaurs don't exist and are technically extra planner. ED, please stop. You're hurting my soul. Second thing, yeah, we've got about 30 of them for boss killing.
Alright, so it's that line. Pretty solid natural armor. It's got 2 attacks that are actually threatening. And it's one of these rare ones that actually has its ability labeled in its text box rather than having to go find it. So that's nice. And, oh yeah, you get up to 22 strength, so you can stat stick. Dexterity is slow, gets lower, but oh well. It's bulky with 19 con when you get your 7th level advancement. And what Sweep does is, when it's charging, it can move up to twice its base speed in a straight line, and it can gore attack at any point. If it hits, that creature's knocked prone, and the Dinotherium can deal damage with its trample before continuing.
Oh, it's got Elephant Stomp.
Yeah. On charge. During charge.
Yeah.
It interrupts its charge to do that and continues charge.
The sheer rage and spite of this creature, where it stops its charge just to stomp on you specifically and then keep going.
And then go and gore somebody.
Charge spring attack, though.
Yeah, it's pretty cute.
I'm into this.
It's a reasonable stat stack. It's reasonably durable. And it's reasonably threatening with its attacks. Where do we put it?
And it can get somewhere it really wants to be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and its attacks are kind of on par with the elephant, which we placed in S tier. Yes, elephant might be getting dethroned because this is just elephant plus.
Yeah, this is definitely elephant plus.
I actually really like this creature.
So, S tier and knock down elephant to A?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, actually go check your DMs. I'll be continue to be hurt.
Oh!
Ed is sticking the knives in.
Why? Okay, elephant good. This elephant actually better. Dimetrodon.
A cool creature I really like, but I think the garbage. By the way, I've just closed the list. Can you show me again? Thank you.
Alright, so strength is average, baseline. I still consider it to be weak. Dexterity is fine. Constitution, good. So it's actually reasonably, thick. Its natural armor is low. It has a threatening bite, and it has tearing bite right out the gate. Tearing bite causes its bite to have the 19 to 20 crit threat. Which means you can keen it and make it 7 to 20. So it's basically got a longsword bite that evolves into a greatsword bite. And that is actually no better than greatsword. It's a 2d8 bite. Which means that if you improve natural attack, you go up to 3d8. And it goes up to 20 strength. And this being its solo attack, it's kind of got a scary single attack thing going on. I think the Metrodon's good, actually, for Pathfinder. It's not bad early. Actually.
But does it act as a living air conditioner for your eggs?
It does not act as a living air conditioner for your eggs. I'm sorry.
Damn, so everyone nearby doesn't get deer elements?
No. It's not built into the stat block, I'm sorry.
Sad. No, I like that. I mean, this is effectively going up to where you've got the gore monsters,
Yeah.
but this is more the vital strike monster.
This is absolutely a vital strike monster. It has a keen greatsword if you make it a keen greatsword. I say keen greatsword. It's better than a keen greatsword.
Yeah.
So, A tier.
I think this is A tier because it doesn't have a lot going for it outside of this in particular. But damn,
It's also stupid.
it's pretty stupid. I mean, if you just effectively want an animal companion that you go, Abelard, cut off his balls, and then it goes and cuts off their balls with this bite, I think you're not going to be unhappy about it.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm equating this fucking thing to Abelard, but here we are.
I don't know why either. I don't know how you got into biting off people's balls either. So let's talk about this Dimorphodon then, shall we? All right. So the Dimorphodon, you start small, you don't get bigger. So we're looking at another bird. It has an 80-foot fly speed. It's clumsy, but it's at least fast. Natural armor on it isn't great. Its stats are not great. However, it is a bird with a poison, and it has a mildly more threatening bite than any other bird in the game. I say in the game, I mean of its size category.
Remember when I bred these things to be sky piranhas?
Yes, I love the sky piranhas. Rest in peace, sky piranhas. Anyways, they get more strength, they
You
get
know,
more con.
I'm actually seeing an issue with these animal companion stat blocks.
Yeah.
Or rather, the creature stat blocks, is that we're going back to this point where, let's say you pissed off a swarm of these things as a player,
Yeah.
with their 80-foot speed just herdering around at Mach 10. Probably have a bit of flyby attack if they get tagged onto it to make them a
Yeah,
bit more
makes
threatening.
sense.
And then they're just poisoning and flyby and just speed.
Yeah.
These are definitely something that it's like the swallow whole bird.
Ah, yeah, the big ol' heron. The
Yeah, the
Yodulus,
big
I
old heron
believe.
it is just something that works a lot better. Not as an animal companion, but if 10 of these fucking things showed up to annoy your players, you're going to be kind of brown pants time.
You know, I don't disagree with that statement. But where do we want to place this bird? I think this is probably
It's
the best small bird we've seen. Mostly because it actually has a reasonably threatening bite at a d6 and has a
its
poison.
con's not bad.
It's not terrible con. Gets
Dex is
better.
not bad. Its strength is like definitely a Dex user. It's
Yeah.
absolutely a.
Does it
Let's
have
not F it.
so does it have enough to live in a D tier?
Yeah. It's not got enough to make me want to use it, but I can see its merits.
Okay. All right. So how do you feel about Diplos?
Well, a Diplodocus isn't actually a real dinosaur.
What do you mean?
Oh, it was a misidentified sauropod. No, wait, I'm thinking about Brontosaurus.
It can snap its incredibly long tail with surprising speed like an enormous whip. This is a primary attack that deals bludgeoning and slashing damage. A Diplodocus can make 2 separate attacks with its tail lash as a full attack action. Oh, so it represents 2 attacks.
Interesting.
Okay, so keeping in mind that tail lash is actually 2 attacks, that means it has 2 attacks that are greatsword tier when it gets a 7th level advancement.
Let's have a look at its stats. It's got base 10 strength, but it goes up to 16. Not great.
Yeah.
Its dexterity doesn't tank.
Yeah.
And it
It's
gets 14
dexterity.
con.
Yeah.
And
it's not very durable. It has respectable natural armor though. Like up to +9 is not a joke.
It's crunchy.
It also has a respectable D8 attack out the gate, but no strength to leverage behind it. Its dex and strength aren't so different though that you probably bother with weapon finesse. I think you just leave it alone until it becomes good.
My question here is Tail Lash coded as a single attack that strikes 2 targets?
It's coded as it basically has 2 natural attacks on a full attack.
So what I was thinking, if Tail Lashes strikes 2 targets with 1 attack, then you can double up your Vital Strike nonsense, because it's like you can only do 1 attack with that, but it hits 2 things like a pseudo cleave.
Nah, it's not quite that. It basically has functionally 2 attacks.
Okay.
1 natural attack that turns into 2 natural attacks.
I think this might just be C tier because of that, but it doesn't also have much more going for it. It's 2 Grey Swords. If that's
Yeah,
what you
like-
want, that's what you want.
Like, if it had stats to back it up as well, it'd probably be B tier.
I agree.
But its stats aren't very good.
Now we're on to our Wet Boy. How do
Alright,
you feel
so-
about Wet Boys, Des?
Not sure what you mean by wet boy. Also, I just got back, so I'm glad I got back in time to answer this.
Well, now.
Oh, didn't even notice you, God.
Yeah.
Serpentine neck flipper lizard. Wet Boy.
So the Elasmosaurus is a plesiosaur, and you might be wondering what it's doing in this list and not in the aquatic list. I figured having 20 speed and being as fast as a dwarf meant it could actually function well enough on land to be counted among these guys. And its stat line is not so terrible as to be too much of a detriment to it. Like, you'd probably still weigh its 50 foot speed over anything else, but yeah. It's got a threatening bite. Its strength starts low, its dex starts high, its constitution starts the average, which I still think's low, but 18, 16, 16. Its stat line at the end becomes pretty good, and it's a 4th level advancement, so it does not suck for long. It's kind of another, like, I feel low level powerhouse, which I think is a credit to it.
I'm honestly I'm not seeing too many things you can do with it outside of it being a bit of a good bitey stick. It kind of feels like a B. It's not doing anything egregiously bad, but it's not doing anything egregiously well.
Yeah.
Well, it's dwarf coded in speed without slow and steady, so it can still be slowed down further.
True,
True.
but like,
If you want a Lapras, here you go.
Yeah,
But, like-
well,
what are you gonna do to slow it down at that point? Encumber it?
encumber it.
Like, why are you going to encumber it? Also, it still has a quadrupedal thing, so it still has twice the carry capacity that you would have.
What do you
True.
mean? Why are you gonna encumber it? Because most large creatures tend to be the pack mules.
I mean, okay, but by the time this thing becomes large, it's gonna have a lot of carrying capacity just by merit of its strength, its
Bag of
shape,
holding
and its
enchant on
size.
saddlebags too.
Yeah. It also does have a threatening bite at 2d6 that could become a 3d6 with the feet, which
Well, the thing is, it's a stat stick, but its stats aren't blowing me away compared
Yeah.
to some. If you want big stat stick, there are better options. That's my problem. It doesn't do anything special, and it's
fair.
not the best stat stick. So it's like, see,
I think
B?
I mean, I think that's
Okay.
what Des said, and it seems to make
Yeah,
sense
I was
to me.
saying, I was saying
Okay.
B because it's not doing anything egregious, but it's also not doing anything like
Yeah.
to really blow me away.
Yeah, but
It's-
that's C tier. That's average.
I
That's what
mean,
C
Is that
is.
C?
let's not forget that bites a 2d6 that becomes a 3d6.
I've seen a lot of 2d6 turns to 3d6 with
Like that
improved
Diplo?
natural attack. I've seen a lot of those, so I'm starting to be a bit less impressed by it.
No, that's fair.
It when it's your only thing, we're kind of desensitized.
That's fair.
It doesn't even have 2.
It does.
Yeah,
have
it's got a
it's
long ass
4th level
fucking tail.
advancement,
Where's
though,
his
which
tail
is
slap?
nice. All right, so then we have the Elasmotherium, which is
Rhino,
another rhino.
but it has impaling horn.
It can fully impale a creature that is 2 or more size categories smaller than it. It's effectively a grab, but it's a very restricted grab.
I mean, I guess you can do powerful build or burly or whatever the fuck
You
it is
can
to
make it
boost that up by
functionally
a stat.
bigger. You could
So
also
at that point, it
size
can
it up.
impale and grab medium creatures, which is more usable.
I mean, let's be fair. If you're also not doing enlarged animal or like legendary proportion shenanigans, are you really using your big stompy boy well?
So, okay, it's kind of unusable out of the box, but with the support of the class it's tied to, it's probably going to be counting as much bigger than it actually is, which probably means it is impaling, best case scenario, up to large creatures. Maybe
Impaling-
huge.
Impaling Horn also has like one more detail worth mentioning is that if it's got something impaled, it can whip its head to act as though it has awesome blow and yeet the thing.
Okay,
S tier.
no,
S
we
tier
can
because
fix.
funny.
We can fix him. We can fix him. A tier.
Yeah. And
He's
you saying
also
unusable out of the box to all the halflings having their hearts broken right there.
also like if you also actually take out the impaling horn completely, it is actually the equivalent of this other A tier rhino that we
True.
placed up here because it has the powerful charge gore and stats that are on par.
Okay, but the fact that I was getting the unusability of that impaling horn is two categories. There, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That was disappointing me, so I was knocking it down a peg. But
We can fix
no,
it.
we can fix it.
I
So
like that. Oh man, it can only impale those things, and then it can throw them like a baseball. I like this now.
and it can eat them.
It's these little details that make things or break things. I keep
You know?
saying it's like S tier and A tier. They've got to have something going for them that makes you go, ooh, that's an ooh.
You know, I kind of agree. I would absolutely be happy moving all the S like everything down by a tier, just keeping S tier for things that are A tier, but also with an ooh.
Things that make you go, ooh. Ooh.
I can build around this because it's funny.
All right,
Yeah.
so our Embolo here.
Embolotherium.
Yep, that same thing of medium to large. I think it sounds like another rhino, and the
It's another
icon
fucking
looks like
rhino.
another rhino. And we got a baseline of +6 natural, so that's nice. It's good. So it's got reasonable AC. It doesn't have a gore. It has a bite. Its bite is worse than all the gores. It does have trample. It is a reasonable stat stick. Kind of a worse stat stick than some of the ones we've seen before it, though. B tier? C tier?
I guess.
It's
I don't know.
so
It's just another fucking rhino without funny rhino shenanigans.
It's a funny rhino, but it only has trample. It doesn't even have the powerful charge.
Oh yeah, exactly. It doesn't even have the
it's
shenanigans, so it's clearly built. It's clearly at least an entire tier below most rhinos.
Okay.
I'm starting to wonder why they made so many dinosaurs if they could not just come up with ways to actually make them unique and playable.
Fucking good question.
I don't
Like they
know.
might as well have just taken the rhino stat block and wrote, "Oh, also use this if you want to include this, and this in your game."
And it would have benefited some of these. Some of
You
these.
know?
So the Eohippus?
So this is a horse, but it's on. It wishes it was a capybara.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
Why does this look like a pony, not a horse?
At least it has a better attack than a pony. That's its one redeeming quality, but it kind of has F tier stats, in my opinion. It's not very
What?
threatening.
Did you say S?
F.
Okay.
Okay. I misheard that too.
Yeah, you said S tier stats, and it just made everything record scratch.
I said
Yeah.
F tier. I understand that I may have pronounced it poorly.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we both heard S and both like, what?
Okay, so absolutely garbage tier stats. Is that better? Like
Better.
its best stat is dexterity going up to 17, so it's not even extremely amazing at that. It's not very bulky. It doesn't have good natural armor. It's not got a threatening attack. I don't think it could even make it into D tier. I think it's F tier.
This is the creature that you're in the Galarian equivalent of the Underdark, the Deep Dark, where the dinosaurs are. And this is what your ranger pulled in for dinner.
This
This
is
is what ends up on the spit.
This is the horse you have at home.
Oh, it's a micro horse. It's a lap horse. Got it.
Okay, so a more exciting creature to talk about probably, the Giga. All right, so it's not.
By the way,
Arc
that's
tier
pronounced
Giga.
Giganotosaurus.
So the Giga here
No, Jigger. It's a Jigger.
starts at medium and goes to large. It's got respectable natural armor. It's respectably fast. It has 3 natural attacks. Now the dice start kind of low for it at D6 and D3s, but they go up to D8 and D4s. Its strength starts at 14. Its dex starts at 16. Its con starts at 10. So squishy, not particularly strong, but it becomes like reasonably strong at 22, so it can stat stick. 14 Dex doesn't hurt it. 14 Con, still kind of squishy, but at least it is a grapple monster at this point.
This is not the blood raging Godzilla that I'm used to it being, and I'm a little bit sad.
Yeah, it's not. It can grab with its bite at least. It can grab with
What's
its
the
bite. And
Giganotosaurus?
what's
The Giganotosaurus' size compared to say a Rex?
I think they are both considered to be gargantuan creatures. Or are you talking about in
I mean,
reality?
biologically.
Okay. I think the Rex is actually bigger, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they're about on par. The Rex is bulkier.
It's
Because,
fatter.
well, we've seen the more modern interpretations of the T-Rex, and once you unshrink wrap them, those boys are a fucking barrel.
Thick.
They are
A
real
torpedo
burly.
of muscle.
Yeah, they're like that fat bald guy down at the pub that's kind of just all muscle underneath.
Alright. So, Despoikin's stats stick kind of okay. And he's a grabby boy. Where do we want to place him?
Well, we know the Rex is coming up, and he is the grabby boy. So this has got to be beneath the Rex.
So do you
I don't
want
think it's
to...
even an A tier. I think it might be a B.
I'm okay with that. I like Gigas,
Yeah.
but also, like... I know it's coming up. He's at
You
least a
like
good natural
Gigas,
armor.
but again, the game did them a little dirty.
Yeah,
The stat
he's so
block's a bit.
squishy.
Yeah.
Like, I think my
On-
biggest problem
on-
with him is he's so squishy.
Honestly, I kind of think that's another problem I have with including dinosaurs. Yes, I absolutely 100% understand that dinosaurs are cool, but the game can't represent them as the actual dinosaurs that they were. And half of these things are just like, wow. Like looking at some of the small boys having a 17 con when some of the big chunky boys only have an 11, because it's like, yeah, but game balance. It's like, yeah, but at the same time,
I think there's a mentality involved in all of this stat where they don't want to truly overshadow your standard archetypical ranger thing of you've got your panther or your wolf or your boar or your bear.
So they
I
take
think
concessions in the health pool.
they were making concessions to make it so that even your baseline archetypical fantasy animal companion to thine druid wasn't overshadowed by your wrecking ball of meat and scales.
I mean, I
Yeah.
get it, but at the same time, it's already balanced. It's balanced by the fact that most DMs go, nah.
I agree.
Like,
Yeah.
I kind of feel like a DM could look at these things, like if they had actual dinosaur stats, a DM could look at these things and go like, you know what? Like, I feel it would be more fine to ban them if they were actually all big and scary, not just 2 or 3 of them being big and scary.
A lot of DMs that are not going to allow them are going to not allow them for thematic purposes,
Yeah.
and I think
And
that's arbitrary and fucking sad as hell. But
that's a reasonable reason to do it because they're not actually overall more powerful.
I remember playing with a DM once who wouldn't let you wild shape into something until you passed a knowledge check to know what the fuck it was you were turning into. And while RP and thematically I can understand that, like, wow, you're just locking other forms behind an arbitrary skill check and forcing your druids to have a shit ton of points and skills they would never invest in.
I mean,
K nature.
I think
Uh,
there is a level of fairness to that because it does say that you have to know what the creature you're turning into is, but making a skill check for the most basic of shit or things that we know exist in reality, like I can understand that logic applying to say the Deinonychus, unless you are from Medio Galti. But like, for the most part, like, if you need a skill check to turn into like a fucking dog or a bear,
Let's say
or
roll to 1, can't turn into bird.
I've never seen a board before in my life. I don't know what that thing is that is flying. It terrifies me. Oh no! Ah!
I would love to play a fucking druid from someplace that doesn't have standard creatures, just getting terrified by this flappy bastard circling overhead. becomes immediate arch enemies with the seagulls.
I love it. Oh
Seagull
man.
flies in, steals his lunch, and now from that day forward, they were rivals.
Maybe next
mean,
time
let's
you
say
play
you
Fairy
would-
Kilby from
you're,
Mediogalti instead of from the Mammoth Kingdom.
Yeah, exactly. You're playing like an Ixalan style where the place you come from is actually just all dinosaurs, and then you see this fucking dog, you're like, the hell is that? Or hell, you see one of the really hideous dogs on some rich noble's arm, it's a pug. And you're like, holy shit, that's hideous. Kill it, fireball!
That could not have evolved naturally. I mean, not wrong, but... Alright, Glyptodon. Glyptodon.
This is clearly the result of successive inbreeding, you monsters.
Well, let's reel it back in. Glyptodon.
I like
Okay, so
Glyptodons.
I think they're cool. So our
It's
boy
a
here,
mammalian Anki.
our boy here is plugged in at 20 feet. So he's kind of slow. He's dwarf speed. He's got a pretty solid natural armor base of +5 and then gets +2 later. He's got 2 claw attacks, which started as a D8, so they were actually kind of threatening out of the box. 13 strength, which I don't consider high, but is still slightly above the average at this point. 13
There's
con,
a
which
plus
again I don't
attack
consider
to it.
high, but it's about average at this point. Dex is bad.
That's bad.
Dex is bad, and it stays bad. It gets worse. But yeah, you get up to 21 strength, you get up to 17 constitution, so it becomes reasonably bulky. He's reasonably thick as far as natural armor is concerned. And the claws are D10s.
I don't like the D10, I much prefer 2D6, but especially if you get the go for improved natural attack, and then that's going up to what?
2d8.
2D8?
Yeah.
Okay, it scales better in the improved natural weapon. Well, then it's still not 3D6.
Yeah, 3d6 would have been better than 2d6. But 2d8 is like, you had 2 of them.
You got
And you only need 1 feat to get 2 of them.
Actually, that's very fucking true. I will
Yeah.
point out as well on the dex side of things, when you're going for Megafauna, you look at dex and you go, I don't fucking care.
Unless a creature... That's general for all these creatures, though. It's
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
unless it's dex space, you don't care.
Oh, its dex goes down to 10. Its strength goes to 21. I care about that way fucking more.
Yeah. It's kind of like why,
Yeah, then you care
why
about
I kind of
con.
brush over. It's like, nobody cares about the dex going down to 10.
It's
It's not like
meh.
it's like okay. If it's 16 to 14, it's like okay. It's still a reasonable, good dex point. That's not a dex point that matters.
Nope.
So
You're
how do we
ignoring
feel
it.
about Glyptodon? It's bulky. It's threatening. It's not the biggest stat stick.
I would say it's a worse Anki, but it's not doing Anki things. It's doing
Yeah, it's
claw
not-
things. It's basically an anteater with armor.
Yeah.
I'd say this is a B.
I'd say
This
it's
is
like
a
B, maybe A. Like it's slow,
High
and that's
B.
kind of like
Play
that's
then?
kind of like I think that's its biggest drawback is it is slow.
Yeah, I say B. It's not catching up and chasing things down like a lot of these fuckers are.
It gets
It's not a giraffe.
It walks in, it gets stuck in, and then it'll tear up asshole. But if something runs from it, it's not keeping up.
Fucking no, it ain't.
But
That is
you
a
know
big
what?
weakness for a lot of animal companions. Things just leaving. It's slow. It doesn't have grab.
I mean, most animal
Nah.
companions though are at least as fast as people, and some of them are really fucking fast. Some of them you're not running from. This
No,
thing,
Well, that's my
anyone can run.
point.
The only thing that's not running from a Glyptodon is basically a dwarf.
This
And
dwarf
a
is
dwarf-
hate.
I feel like Glyptodons and dwarves would get along very well. They're both
It is
sturdy,
very
thick
dwarf
boys.
coded, isn't it?
Yeah.
No.
And it's got those big diggy claws.
It's very dwarf coded.
Dwarf coded.
But yeah.
Thumb Spike McGee.
So Aladar here. So Aladar actually is. Okay, let's just talk about the 17 strength real quick. Baseline 17.
Oh,
Jesus.
what the fuck, Iguanodon?
Jesus
on.
Plus 8
Christ.
enhancement up to
What?
25.
That's automatically. I'm just saying A tier for just that.
Oh, it gets
Like
better.
minimum.
It has 1 claw attack, but that claw attack goes up to a D8, and it has an X3 critical when it hits the 7th level.
So it can become a great sword with great axe crits.
Yeah, essentially.
25 strength. What the hell, Iguanodon, my boy?
You don't fuck with Aladar. Aladar will fuck you up. Also, he's bulky, 19 Constitution,
Yeah, he is.
and his natural armor is not that much worse than the average. Like, it's slightly under average, 5 versus 6. Who fucking cares? What you care about is 25 strength, and it fucking hurts.
I mean, let's also be fair. Let's be completely fair. Like this thing, when it hits 7th level, we're saying 25 strength, but it's realistically gonna be like 26 strength or more
It'll be
because
27 strength because internal
yeah,
scaling.
because yeah, the advancements are definitely going in there.
And
Yeah,
if you put the advancement in there, yeah, you'll have like 28. But if you do that, you're not having that 3 intelligence yet. Which honestly, you could skip the 3 intelligence entirely, get it a headband, because you know what?
Yeah.
It's something that we've not really counted. I guess as a is this a quadruped or a biped? I think it's a quadruped actually.
They walk on their knuckles. They also just slap you with a thumb. They're not biped, no. They
Okay.
walk on their. They use their front legs as walking and grasping tools.
You say slap you with their thumb.
Fucking stab you, the world pauses, and then you disintegrate. You know what I mean?
Okay, so easily it's going to A tier. Does it deserve S tier?
honestly, with that critical hit shenanigans and just its stupidly high strength, like the rest of it is acceptable. It is absolutely kind of a stat stick,
But its
but
constitution also pushes above what you'd expect from most of them as well. I think
Yeah.
it is S tier
yeah,
because it's like strength, holy fuck, constitution. It's up there with Titanoboa, which we kind of rated as the gold standard of beef. No,
yeah,
Titanoboa
like it's gonna have
Yeah.
19 plus,
plus one.
and yeah, and that fucking like okay, yeah, the claw is a bit low, but with improved natural attack, that's jumping up.
It's a 2d6 with
With it
improved natural attack, yeah.
and with improved critical, you're going to be critting as reliably with as you do with a great sword, except with redonkulous strength and triple damage instead of double damage.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like it's still unreliable for the crit, so
It
that's
You
is
can
a little
make
harsh,
it more
reliable.
reliable, though.
If what's that?
Oh, go ahead.
I say you can make it more reliable.
You
can
can.
key it. You can expand his crit range and do
Yeah.
this and that for a bit more.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can make it a 19 to 20, and that's pretty much it.
That's a 1 in 10.
Yeah.
But if that
It's not the
I
most
think that's
reliable
why I
crit,
did.
but it will fucking hurt, and there's no reason to not make it vital striking.
And even yeah, it's got a single attack, and let's be fair, even if it doesn't crit, it's 20 like 5 plus strength.
Yeah, it still hurts.
It's got some
It's
power attack going in with this.
So you guys think S tier?
fuck.
I think S tier.
I'm okay with that.
Surprise S tier.
Yeah, it's like
That-
you didn't have put any stock into the Iguanodon until the Stabby Boy until you saw that 17 strength. And now
Yeah.
Aladar will absolutely fuck your ass up. Capro. It rams with the calcified tip of the snout. It has the same attack bonus as the bite. It deals bludgeoning damage equal to bite damage. And if it's successful, it can attempt a free trip. So it's essentially basically doing the it's doing the axe beak thing.
Yep.
It's doing the axe beak thing, and does it? It has. It's doing the axe beak thing, but it has better strength,
Better con too.
and it has better con, and it has 2 attacks.
It's got its base. Oh, it's a
It's
Capro.
2d8s.
It's a fucking land croc anyway.
Yeah, it's a Capro.
I think the axe beak is getting booted down to B and replaced.
I think so too.
Sorry, buddy.
I'm sorry. We're
And
sorry,
it's a
buddy.
crocodile, so it gets favoritism from you anyway.
Yeah, I do like my reptiles. But yeah, the rest of this is base 15, so it's actually got really good starting stats. 15, 14, 15.
Yeah.
It's actually good early game, which is
It doesn't get a +8.
It does
Well,
not. I mean,
who
it does
fucking
not, but
cares?
it's not. It's still reaching like a 21,
Yeah.
which is kind of the same thing that we saw very recently, might I add. With like, what
Yeah.
was it? The Glyptodon? Yeah. It's not the end all be all of stat sticks, but it does do its job pretty well.
The
And it's got 2 attacks.
only fundamental downside to this entity is its 1 intelligence, while just boosting it up to 3. It is a
Yeah,
very stupid creature.
you're headbanding it. You're not bothered. I mean,
Yep.
you're not wasting 2 points. You're putting a headband on it, which
You're putting a headband in it.
honestly, like, yeah, you're sinking money into its intelligence. That's not the worst though.
Oh, for the most part, they're going to be getting headbanded anyway, because you still need to shore up their will saves.
True.
You may as well have some intelligence on one of those headbands that dropped at some point. Well, get it made. God, running on the assumption that you've got a craft bitch just to double your money is probably something a lot of groups just don't have the expectation of.
Well, especially because the whole crafting system is another thing that tends to get banned at a lot of tables.
It is.
True.
Just
Hell, it's completely banned in Pathfinder Society. They just pretend that whole system doesn't exist.
yeah, but fuck the PFS.
Yeah, but the PFS is why everything we love gets nerfed.
Dude, weapon cord. Oh yeah, some fat fucking nerd in his computer can't flip his mouse over and catch it because apparently he's got cerebral palsy. Nerf it.
Yeah, I mean, I still remember making the jokes about it whenever Pathfinder Society gets brought up in one of the Pathfinder adventures. It's like, of course this quest failed. You got the Pathfinder Society and not the actual proper adventurers to do it.
The Pathfinder Society actually just a hazing method for new fucking adventurers.
You must survive at least 5 adventures in Pathfinder Society, then you can become a real adventurer.
God, it's feeling like 2nd edition. You do 5 levels of PFS and you finally earn your 1st class level.
All right. Let's reel it back in. The Kintro. Hey,
The
you like
living
Kintros, don't you all?
What?
No, because I get near them, then they impale me and bleed me to fucking death.
Well, you know what they do in this game?
Defensive spikes.
Defensive spikes. All right, so let's start. Let's talk about it a little bit. They're kind of fast at 40, like surprisingly fast. Their natural
Okay.
armor not very good. They have a tail attack that's kind of threatening. It starts at a D8, becomes a 2D6. Strength starts low, Dex starts okay, Constitution starts low. Gets a big boost to Strength, loses a little bit of Dex, gains a bit of Con. We've seen these before. Impaling Strike. Impaling Strike causes that tail to have an X3 critical. So it has that, but it doesn't have the massive base strength that the Iguanodon has. Defensive Spikes allows it to sacrifice its ability to make attacks of opportunity to have retaliatory damage.
What is the retaliatory damage?
It's like a D6, and it's a Dex scaling reflex save.
Okay. It's a Dex scaling reflex save. It's got okay Dex. Oh, this thing's a very confused creature.
A little bit. It loses
I
some
think
Dex
it's-
when it gets bigger, but keep in mind, Dex is one of those stats that scales up. So it's going to have decent Dex by the end no matter what. It can't help it. Also, you're absolutely going to belt it for, like, big stats.
I mean, yeah, you're going to put the Dex Strength Con belt on.
Yeah.
And at that point, I think a lot of... So it's speed. I think there's a lot of things it can do that just involves chasing something down and being just a harassment tool, because things are going to want to hit it back.
It could potentially run into the middle of something, get stuck in, and every turn flop something with its tail. If things ignore it, it will eventually win. If things don't ignore it, well, the D6 will hurt them, probably.
So what you do is every turn on its turn, have it move 5 feet, continually surround. Just have it keep circling them. That way, you'll trigger their AOs onto it.
Yeah.
So even if they don't want to swing at it, it's just going to be a tempting target.
If boosting defensive spikes with probably There might be things you can do to make that hit harder and just make it better. If you can get it to be a really obnoxious creature, maybe A. But as it stands, it's a bit confused.
Yeah.
And the numbers aren't very impressive outside of its tail slap.
Yeah,
So I'd say
but
it's a B
if
with
you're allowed
potential.
to scale those defensive spikes by some means, like it sits in the realm of being an ability, which
Hmm.
is kind of a drawback for it. But if you're allowed to scale that, that does help it out quite a bit.
Yeah.
So, marsupial lion, yield thylacoleo.
Now, here is my favorite.
An arc. You might not like it so much in this game. Okay, but let's see. We got a climb speed, base 20, becomes 30 later. It's reasonably fast at like 30 speed, baseline. Its bite and its claws actually are at a decent starting point, and when they grow larger, you got D8s and D6s. The claws can grab. Of course they can. Strength starts kind of low for my tastes. Dexterity is actually pretty solid. Constitution is okay, but it has that
Plus
plus
it
8,
does.
-2, +4, so you're looking at 20 strength and 17 con, so it's reasonably durable.
Plus it
Doesn't
does.
doesn't regular big cat have pounce?
Yes.
A tier. It's inferior
This
to regular big cat.
this thing should have pounce because their hunting style is waiting up trees and just dropping onto something and blending it.
I
Yep.
agree that
This
it should
thing
have
should
pounce.
have pounce.
It should have
It-
pounce. It should also have some means of death from above.
Yeah.
I mean, like a pounce would have just been death from above, but no, like just the fact that it's basically worse cat because it lost pounce.
Lost pounce, it
If
lost rake. It does have grab.
if this did arc things, it'd be absolutely be an S tier because that's how what it does on arc. It basically grabs you off a flyer, or if you go underneath it from a tree, it grabs you with its front legs and it starts kicking. It
Shreds
rakes.
your armor.
It shreds
Yeah.
your armor. Like, it... why? Why'd you do this?
I'm
I don't know.
I'm giving it A because it's still got some decent stuff, but you're
It's
you're
actually
you're
got good
talking it
stats.
down to B.
Fucking true.
You're talking
Yeah.
it
sad.
down to B.
I'm like leaving it. I was gonna leave an A because it has 2 grabs, and that's worth something.
I suppose.
But I
guess.
wouldn't be opposed to seeing it in B either. It does kind of disappoint me a little bit too.
You know
But
what?
that's
It
because I'm
made us
used to it.
sad. Drop it down a tier. We're sad.
You know,
Okay. The Megalosaurus.
Big deer.
Nothing very mega about this boy, to be honest. He's kind of fast. The natural armor is kind of fine. His gore is actually kind of spooky. But like his base strength, not very good. Dex is surprisingly high. Constitution's actually pretty good. So you get up to 20 and like 18 con. 20 strength, 18 con. It's a
it's
decent
better
stat there.
deer. It's
And it has
better
a powerful
deer.
charge. And it's powerful charge. So
Yeah,
it's
but
not
that
as-
lists a damage number, so you can't do dumb shit.
it's like I think it can also live in B with the other chargers,
I
maybe.
agree.
But I feel like
I
it's also
love-
just worse than them. I almost want to
Mm.
put it in C. But it's
I
better
love
than
that
C,
it's
I
got
feel.
the 2d6 gore, but
Mhm.
little 1d4 hooves. It's like at that point,
bleh.
why bother?
Yeah, the hooves
So
are
you're
actually
saying
more.
you're going down to B, but isn't its stats a bit more than some of the chargers?
No,
No?
it's actually got less
strength
stats than
too?
most of the chargers.
Oh, never mind. Never mind.
But don't worry, it makes up for that with its 2 little limp hoof kicks.
The 2 little limp hoof kicks are why I'm putting it in B minus.
There's just murdering it with words at this point.
I actually liked it better before I realized it had hooves. Because at least that gore would have had that big ol' like 1.5
that's where its extra
strength.
stats went.
But then again, the 2 hooves aren't detrimental. They just make me sad.
If they took off the 1.5 strength, they actually are detrimental.
Yeah. I mean, they can
So,
hit
hey.
and make up for it in damage if they hit.
Like the D4, they fucking can't. Anyway, giant ground sloth, angry at bugs.
Our boy the Megatherium has a climb speed, so it's kind of a low one, but it gives it that +8 to climb, so it can probably climb normally like a normal person and move a little bit faster probably. It does actually move pretty fast on the ground though.
Mhm.
It's got also respectable natural armor. Its claws start off kind of weak, kind of like the other slothy boy, like the horse sloth, and they go up to like a D6. The strength starts kind of pathetic. Strength 9 is pathetic. Dexterity 14 isn't very good. Constitution 11 isn't very good. The only thing it's really got going for it until it hits 7 is that it's got an okay, decent amount of natural armor, and that it's kind of fast. Once it goes up, it goes to like 17 strength, which is still kind of below the average. Its rend is kind of scary at a D8, and because it's a rend, it has the 1.5 strength modifier. This, I B or C probably, maybe. I feel like it's crippled by its bad early game. 6 levels of actually having a bad creature just sucks.
I think it's crippled by the fact that its claws that are a giant ground sloth's foot-long fuck you claws are that bad.
It's pretty bad. C tier?
Is it worth a C?
I don't even know.
You can't
It's
even like
it's
even improved natural attack barely salvages this thing.
Yeah, we're all
Yeah.
sighing at it. It's absolutely a C. It's fucking average.
I mean, it might even be a D tier. 6 levels of bad for an okay mid game.
You know, yeah,
Actually, yeah, it's D
you
tier.
talked me into
Yeah,
it. D.
mediocre. Thumbs down.
It's so mediocre. It feels I feel like okay, it's playable. It's not F, but
If
it's
we
not going to feel good to
started-
play early, and it might feel okay mid game.
If
But
we started the
Hmm.
list with that thing, it might have gotten a bit more consideration. But after everything we've seen,
We're all just sat here with a little plushie of like an iguanodon or something in our laps and just screaming at it. Mediocre. Bleh.
yeah. All right, so the fucking Moa. All right, so this boyo starts medium, becomes large for some reason.
They're a massive bird.
Yeah, but I say for some reason when I'm looking at elephants and brontos that are hitting large at cap.
Yeah.
I don't want to mentally compartmentalize the fact that this bird becomes as big as an animal companion brontosaurus.
Okay, that's a Bronto problem because moas are also known as elephant birds.
Yeah, I know. I know it is. But I don't want to
Okay, so you know
compartmentalize
that.
it.
So you know that a moa is like 3 times the height of a fucking person. They're enormous.
Yeah. Okay, but let's talk about the OA's stat line.
Okay.
Natural armor is kind of poor. It's not very fast for what I would expect it to have, but it's not slow either. Its talons are unthreatening. Cap out at D4s. String starts kind of low. Dex starts kind of like actually fine, honestly. Constitution starts kind of low. I think it's also kind of mediocre, to be honest.
It's very bird coded, you know?
I think it's D tier.
Yeah.
D for bird.
Okay, Mokele Mbembe.
Cryptid.
So Mokele Mbembe is the one that I thought was going to be dethroning Elephant, to be honest. So, 30-foot speed, 30-foot swim speed, pretty good natural bulk, because +5 and then +9 later. Attack is a bite and a slap that start at D8s. The tail slap has additional reach. And we're also looking at a strength score of like 16 baseline, dex 17, con 10. So aside from being squishy, it is actually pretty good until it gets its advance. It does get its advance at 9th level instead of at 7th level though. So it does take a while. But then you go 2d6 for both the bite and the tail slap, so you can turn them both into butchering axes. Oh, and you get a +8 to strength and a +4 to con. So con becomes kind of salvaged. Strength goes up to a ye old, what is that, a 24? Yeah, it's 24.
Yep.
Oh, and has the whiptail rule.
I'm gonna say, what's whiptail?
I
When
think we
not
just
submerged, a
covered
Macaulay
this.
member can crack its tail like
Yeah.
a whip, creating a sonic boom in a 5-foot burst up to 20 feet away. Any creature in the burst area must succeed a DC 21 fort save or be stunned. It's con-based.
Yep.
Okay.
I guess it's nice if it can't get into bop range, so you just like.
I mean, it is effectively a ranged stun attack.
It also technically has a range attack with that 15-foot tail.
It's pretty fucking close to a range attack. Yeah. It's like it's got a reach of 15 feet, which is phenomenal considering what it
And
is.
24 strength, you know what?
It's got strong attacks. It's a stat stick.
Ooh,
It's a little squishy, but it's got pretty good natural bulk.
that is one of the shittiest advancements I've seen, though, level 9.
It is.
Yeah.
It takes a long time for it to get online, but until it gets online, it's also just not bad. It doesn't feel bad to have 16 strength and 17 dex. It is actually kind of
5
on
nat
par with some of the
armor.
creatures after their advancement. At least
And it
a lot of
still
low tier
does
ones.
have the 10-foot reach.
Yeah.
You know what? I think
To be saying it might be an S.
I think it's an
it might
S.
be an S.
It
Like
might be
I
an
think
S.
I was pretty sure I was going to dethrone elephant and toss it
I
down to A.
I feel like this is only gonna really hurt to have probably level like 6, 7, 8. Because it's not quite at its advancement yet, and you're hitting the time when things are a little bit more dangerous. So it's like those will be the only levels where this thing feels a little bit like, okay, you're not pulling your weight as much as you used to.
I
But
think
then
it'll
it hits
pull its
that
weight
level
until
9
6.
and
I think it pulls
but
its
then
weight
it
until
hits
6, and then 7 and 8 probably feels bad. But yeah.
and then it hits level 9 and it's just like, welcome back, buddy.
And then it slaps their shit.
I would invest in that tail slap. Fuck the bite.
It's a pretty good tail slap. It's fucking
yeah,
goofy.
that's a goofy creature.
And like I'm pretty sure it has bad constitution mostly because it's what tails con scaling, and because they'd be scared to give an AoE ranged stun to an animal companion.
Cowards.
So
The Ornithomimisaur.
yeah, I'm glad you were. I was trying to dissect that
You were
name.
struggling.
Okay, it fast. It get fast as fuck. AC bad. Its claws actually are kind of spooky. Baseline
Oh,
they're
hey.
D8.
It's what the mower should be.
Yeah, it's what the MOA should be. Its base stat line is kind of lame, but
And
Dexy. And
it ain't getting much better.
I mean, its ability score increases are at least a +2 across the board. But yeah, it's not amazing, and it also gets a bleed. I mean, D8 plus
That
bleed.
60 feet with sprint is kind of goofy, though.
It is
It's
potentially
pretty
very
funny.
goofy. If it wants to be somewhere, it can be there.
I feel like this would fit much better in the Cavalier's mount section, you know?
It looks like something that a Cavalier would probably benefit from more than most other things. Then again, it never gets past medium.
Yeah.
It stays a medium creature.
Oh, fucking hellfire.
Plays fucking halfling.
It'd make a great halfling mount, yeah.
Looks
Or
at
no
mage,
mount.
reduce person me.
I'm kind of disappointed. It's like, it's not D for bird, but I think it might be C for bird because it's just D for fucking bleed and nobody cares about bleed after a point. It's just so little damage.
I mean, it's D4 bleed, but with that 1 feat, those D8s do become 2d6s. And having
I
2
don't know,
great swords with 1 feat
it
is not
doesn't-
terrible. But yeah.
It doesn't have that much going for it because those stats are pretty.
It does let down by its stats. C tier then?
And yeah, and the stats don't get any better.
We're sort of
Like-
on this point of like, what's its purpose? Tucker's
Harassment.
kobolds, but halflings.
Yeah, you know what this thing's purpose is? Literally to do that. You point at the caster and it runs around the entire battlefield with its sprint and appears behind the caster.
It definitely feels like it's some kind of flanking harassment sort of animal companion rather than a beef stick.
I mean, sure, but once something's stuck in, you
It's
kind of need to be
now,
going the dodge mobility nonsense to make it. And it's like, I guess you could, but
Well, that's where the rest of the party like distracts the enemy's front line whilst this thing runs all the way around the battlefield to get to the wizard.
it'll get there.
this seems
It'll
like
get
an
there.
objectively worse theory.
Yes.
It's a worse Sari. It's also a worse Raptor.
And a worse fucking raptor. True. They
Yeah.
exist.
The Deinonychus also just exists, and though it doesn't have bleed, it does the job better.
Pounds blend. Yeah, true.
Yeah, the Raptor will just kill something. That thing's just removed. It's not a harassment tool. It will run in and assassinate something.
Hey, it's Apaki.
I like the
I
Packy.
shouldn't
I've got a
say
soft
that
spot
because
for
that.
this idiot.
Okay, so it's Pachycephalosaurus. I shouldn't say that because Packy is a slur for Pakistani people in Britain. So let's pronounce it wrong and say Patchy. I don't want YouTube to just be like slurs demonetized, banned.
Lamau. I've got a soft spot for these idiots, but yeah, let's
They are
see.
good idiots.
They've got below average natural armor, but not so much so that it's detrimental. They've got a single gore. So they start at D8, they go up to a D10, so they can improve it to a 2D8, which is again worse than a 2D6, but their strength, dex, and con actually has a reasonable starting point, so it doesn't feel bad to play them for 6 levels. The con I still think is a little low, but what are you going to do? You gotta make concessions somewhere, I guess. And I'd much rather have 13 than 10. Though when they advance, plus 8 strength, plus 4 constitution, who cares about the loss of dex? Up to 17 con's reasonable, up to 23 strength, pretty good. And clobbering charge, when it I feel like it's poorly written. I'm assuming that the slam is actually its gore. But yeah, assuming that it's not unusable because it doesn't have a slam. Yeah, it gets a free bull rush whenever it charges. And
it staggers them.
If it crits, it staggers. And the strength-based scaling DC, which means that 23 strength is actually putting in work.
Holy crap, something that has scaling that it actually should have just most of these should have had.
Yeah, right.
I fucking agree with you.
I agree.
I think this is a solid B.
It's allowed to be good at what it wants to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is a B.
I'm happy with it being a B, honestly. It's not quite good enough to be an A. It might be good enough to be an A, but only maybe.
I mean, stagger is pretty nice.
Stagger is disgusting, but it's only on crit.
It has to crit.
Yeah.
The free bull rush can mean that it can punt things around, which is really funny.
That requires it to initiate multiple charges, though. It needs to charge something, get in. I suppose if the bull rush succeeds, it can just go, alright, I'm going to go charge someone else now. Just keep punting around. But I think at that point...
Just pick
maybe.
Just pick the Yeety Yak.
Yeah, the Yeet Yak. Or the Yeet Rhino.
The Yeet Rhino.
Yeah. I think it's B. Because if you want to do that particular nonsense, you're actually taking Yeet Rhino.
Yeah.
It's better at it.
I mean, at least this guy though, it's not restricted by size as much. It's restricted by the size of bull rushes.
Yeah.
That is the one advantage.
True. True.
But it's less funny.
I say B. It's less funny. Exactly.
It's less funny.
I think you might be doing him a little bit dirty thinking about it, but I'll agree. Fine. Parasaurolophus.
Parasaurolophilus. Fuck, I can't do it. Wow.
The parasaur.
It's a parasaur.
Parasaur.
Parasaurolophus.
It's a para.
Okay.
It doesn't have its
here,
radar.
we can't
honk.
pronounce it.
It's missing a radar honk. It's kind of squishy. Like, not very good natural armor. Constitution starts at 9, goes up to like 13. I don't know why this creature isn't better than what it has baseline, because it feels very gimped. It has a trample,
Because-
it has a tail attack.
Because it's a non-threatening herbivorous duck-billed dinosaur.
Well, then why doesn't it have its sonar?
Why doesn't it have sonar? Where's its blind sense?
Where is
Or
it?
tremor sense?
Where is it scream at things?
Honk.
Where is its mighty
You
gronk?
see, the screaming at things comes from the druid who decided to take this as their companion.
All right. So I think we've determined it's not very good. Do we fling it into C tier?
No,
Or
it's in D tier.
D? Okay.
It has literally
for no
nothing
honk.
going for it. And it's
Mm,
honkless.
It
Honkless!
is very honkless.
Mess with the honk, get the bonk. It doesn't have the honk.
Okay.
Or the bonk.
The Prionosuchus. Prionosuchus? On land, a little slow at 20. Can swim a little bit faster. It has a little bit of natural armor. It has a bite with grab. It has a less strength than our premium boyo, the Titanoboa.
Why does it have constrict?
I was going to get into that. Like, it has grab and it has constrict. It has bigger dice than the Titanoboa. Less flat,
feel
bigger
like-
dice.
Its constrict is probably not it like wrapping it like a snake, but more it's because it's like a
Crunch.
crocodile, so it's just crunching.
I mean, I understand, but a lot of the Titanoboa's appeal was the fact that it had raw bulk.
Yeah.
It was just a massive hunk of armor and meat
Oof.
and features.
This could have been so much better if that strength advancement was an 8, but they made it a 4. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, it's a case of this thing has way less strength. It actually has more constitution than the Titanoboa, so it has more meat. But
Yeah.
all
You
it really
don't
has
care
going for
about-
it over the Titanoboa is it has more meat, and its dice are bigger.
Yeah,
So
you don't
it's-
really care about your con on your grapple monster. You want its strength to be up there so you can grapple.
You might care about it if the thing's trying to fight back.
Yeah,
Hypothetically,
but you
though,
care
like-
about it less.
Yeah. Like, hypothetically, though, like, it's not... Okay, so what it has going for it is it's 2d6 bite and 2d6 constrict. Those will scale up with improved natural attack. Both of them. So it can have a very threatening bite and a very threatening constrict at the same time. It will do the job. It might do the job worse because it just has such little strength, though. Because, like, if it can't get
Yeah.
its bite off,
Yeah.
or it can't get its grab off, then it's not doing anything anymore.
Well, we've seen what the interaction is with flat strength and armor spikes and the whole cascade of effects that Draculi had going.
Yeah.
Like the monstrous amount of it just did over 100 damage in just consecutive triggers. A lot of that was down to flat strength of flat damage.
Yeah, like I don't feel the dice
dice-
on the constrict is as important.
Okay.
Nah,
I feel like
It's-
the difference in
like,
the dice
Draculi
could be
is-
relevant, but that's fair. So where do we want to place this boyo? B tier? C tier?
I'd say he's a C. Well, no, he's got grab and constrict. That's something. So maybe a B.
at least B, like
least
because
B.
it can still do the job and it can do the job okay. But that missing 4 strength that everything else gets, that's a big fail point because that's just like a chance to fail your bite and your grapple every time by
Yeah.
2.
That's true.
It kind of hurts when almost everything else on here at a 7th level advancement has had a +8 strength
Fucking
when it
true.
went up to large. They just did this dirty.
Yeah. For some reason. So,
Oh, and let's not forget the int 1. So again,
It's stupid.
It's
Yeah.
stupid.
It real dumby.
Pteranodon.
Alright, so our Pteranodon here.
D for bird.
Actually, it's got better stats than a bird because it's a fucking lizard. It's a
I know,
reptile.
I'm just making the joke because the Pteranodon.
I thought that, and then I looked at it.
Well, it's got that clumsy flight, so it is dumb in the air.
yeah.
True.
A low starting strength, high starting dex, low starting con. Its strength is made up for some with that +8 when it advances. Its bite is actually really threatening at a D8 to a 2D6. its dexterity dropping to a 19 does not really matter. It's still
It's
dexterity.
kind of still it's still almost asking for weapon finesse.
Yeah, it probably is asking for weapon
It
finesse still.
probably is.
And Constitution, 14 isn't like terrible. We've seen a lot of 14s.
I mean, it's a
It's not
flyer.
the high point. It's a flyer, yeah.
It's a flyer.
It's
They
a
tend to
large
have-
flyer that you can ride, so
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
I do think it's probably worse than the owl and the
Yeah,
heron.
because the owl was not weirdly good.
Yeah,
Whew.
but it probably is still kind of. Would you say it's on tier or below the tier of the owl and the bat and
I
the heron?
think it's worse than the owl, but still on tier because it's not as bad as a lot of those things in C.
True.
Yeah.
And just be, even if you're just using it for its flying around pecking and then using it for transport, it's still kind of useful.
Yeah, a flyer that's large enough to mount a human on. That's one of those things that's quite rare
Yeah.
as well. So it's filling in a niche that don't have many dudes in it.
To be fair, I don't see that being a problem for Druid with all of their I'll just turn into a fucking bird and fly myself. But at the
Yeah.
same time,
I mean,
it
Hunter.
saves you. Yeah. Oh yeah,
And,
true. Like
I
if a
mean,
hunter grabbed this.
Hunter, yeah, or hey, you could be the druid
Ranger.
and you could take that fighter and mount them on your pteranodon.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, honestly, having like the fighter who's decent at riding on it, negating hits that want to hit this incoming around might actually do a lot for its survivability.
It's true.
Having
I
a
just-
rider just benefits him.
I just pictured the mounted archer rider spec fighter teaming up with the druid.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I can see that. So, underneath the pteranodon, we have the quets.
It's big lad. Well, it's supposed to be a big lad, but
Oh,
not.
there's that ×3 crit again.
So the quet is basically Pteranodon Plus in just about every case. It does have 2 wings, which are... It depends on how you feel about it, whether that's better or worse than having 1 bite. But, yeah, it has better natural armor, a slightly better stat spread with +1 more strength. So
It can
negligible
walk
change.
at 30 feet.
Yeah, I can walk faster.
You know what? I'm willing to give it 1 tier better just cause of all of that.
Okay, but is this better than the heron, and is it better than the owl? I think we
Probably not. I
argued
think
that the heron was probably the best we had seen up into this point.
honestly, I don't know. It's got some good stats. It's got some solid stats, don't get me wrong. And that ×3 crit on a greatsword is nice.
It is.
But I think I would have preferred reliability over big crit modifier in this case.
Yeah, that's fair. Is it on? So would you say that it's on tier with the Pteranodon and everything else, or is it above tier?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's above tier of the Pteranodon. It's not actually above tier of the actual tier.
Okay.
Yeah. It's right up there, nestled with the owl, like that girl hugging the owl in the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I think would I prefer the quets over a big fluffy owl? This is a hard fucking choice. I do like my big stupid creatures.
I
Look, another cryptid.
I hate the next creature. In one of the games that I was in, the group had a rock animal companion, and the person named it Dwayne, and I hated the pun.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
I understand why you hated the pun. So, anyways, the Rock.
I do have to say, we also had an otter in there, and the otter's name was Siggy. And eventually I finally asked, why is the otter's name Siggy? And it's like, oh, because it's my significant otter. And I regretted asking.
I don't want to think about that.
Don't fuck the otter.
It was the pun, you fucking nerds.
Yeah, I just don't want to think
Look,
about
they have
it.
a reputation.
Okay, the Rock. Let's go back to the Rock. The Rock has a +5 natural arm, which is appropriate for a rock, probably. It does get 3 more, so it has respectable AC for what it is. It can walk at dwarf speed. and fly actually kind of fast. It has 3 natural attacks, being 2 talons and a bite. They don't start all that threatening as far as the numbers go, but you're not going to be too mad about them in the early game. Strength, 12. Not very good at the start. Dex, 19. Lower than our previous contenders, but big enough. Constitution, 9. Squishy. But maybe its natural armor will keep things off of it. However, when it gets bigger, 13 con, still kind of squishy, but much better. 20 strength, much improved. The 2 talons gain grab.
Ah, yes, where you airlift something and then drop the bitch.
Yes.
I want to put this in F tier for one reason. Its fucking description. Unfortunately for druids seeking animal companions of legendary size, an animal companion rock is limited to large size. Fuck off, developers.
Yeah.
You're even slapping it in our faces right there.
Yeah.
I'm
Like,
going
what's
to.
the best thing about the rock? The fact that it's supposed to be a massive, really, really massive fuck off bird.
I'm going to ignore that bit, and I think that grab on a flyer could probably put it in A tier.
80
Grab-
feet flying, and it's not clumsy.
Yeah.
It's not clumsy. And once it has flyby attack, it just sweeps in, picks something up, angles itself up, and keeps going.
Yep.
Yeah.
It can kidnap
Hell, it can
bitches
even
and
be
drop
used.
them.
It can even be used to rescue you. You're
Yeah.
in trouble. Just have it fly by and grab you.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
I
A tier?
like rocks. As a cryptid slash pseudo legendary megafauna, like they did exist at one point. I really like these as a creature, but damn, that fucking forward by the devs. Ugh. I say
Yeah.
Grab Flyer
Honestly, yeah.
is premier go fuck yourself. There's a lot of things that just can't do anything about that.
So A or
you
do you think
know,
S?
extra funny, the fact that it's got 2 talons. If you have 2 enemies standing next to each other, just talon each one and then fly away with both of them.
I
Good.
mean, it's large.
Yeah.
It's got a bit of reach.
You make it count as a size category larger, and it can pick up large boys and fly off with them.
Ah, yes, it's the whole. If you drop a mouse off a building, it'll land on its feet. If you drop a dog off a building, it might break its legs. If you drop an elephant off a building, it goes splat.
Yeah. Honestly, I think A.
A.
Mm.
I think it's probably the best flyer, which is the only reason why I was considering S for it.
I mean, best within flyer category, but we're doing a tier list of an overall.
True.
Of mostly
Alright.
arbitrary choices of this makes me sad and this doesn't.
So the
Hey, I
saber.
was willing to A that one despite that fucking addendum from the devs, so.
Yeah.
True. Okay.
Saber cat. Alright, so our saber-toothed cat here. And not outstanding natural armor. The start stats for to begin with 15, 15, 13. Pretty solid actually. Its bite only can be used on a grapple check, which is an annoyance, and that bit doesn't really go away, but it does start off with 2 claws that can grab.
I mean, saber cats literally had their teeth as an execute. If they actually
Yes.
use them for standard biting, they would just snap.
Yeah, they made that a mechanic for the saber-toothed cats. They can't bite
Yeah,
unless they
but
grapple.
that 23 strength plus pounce plus that bite, you know what?
Who cares?
I mean,
It's pretty
it is
good.
a nasty bite. Like,
I think this cat is the one that finally dethrones regular cat.
I don't know if it dethrones regular cat, because I feel it's less
True.
versatile.
Counts
Like,
grab
it has
rake.
less it has less immediate
I
power.
forgot about Rake.
Because
Yeah.
instead of having rake, it has a bite. That said, it's a very
Yeah.
nasty bite.
You know, considering that the rake tends to be a bit lower damage, it's going to be on par. It's got a little bit of. Well,
It's got a bit
So-
more bite to it.
My thoughts are more about the immediate impact of the pounce and the charge, because it can't bite immediately. It has to claw, grab, and like it has 2 chances to claw and 2 chances to grab, and you could grab 2 separate things. but you can't also grab with the bite.
I mean, true, but I've played. I'm pretty damn sure that in your campaigns you've been in, I've played things with this similar setup, and it's always been claw, claw, bite.
Yeah.
To get procs to happen, so that's not actually that significant. I've
What
done
is
it
more
that way
significant
before.
is that you have to wait till the next turn to get a bite out.
Oh,
Yeah,
Because it's
because
only
it's
on a
on your
grapple check to deal
grapple check.
damage.
it's not like a fucking constrict that triggers. I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the nail that clicks for you. Good.
It's delayed a turn. A.
I can accept
No,
that.
E.
I mean, yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it's an A.
I can put an A. Like, you still
It's a
can't
high A
hate.
because it's a stat stick.
It actually is a stat stick. You're not wrong.
Then
All right.
again, I bet you can get that bite up to do some ludicrous things.
Yeah, like you can make it a
With a
3d8
bit of
bite, but
setup.
you're never actually vital striking with it or doing a lot of other things, but because of the action type required to trigger it.
Yeah, okay. A.
All right, so my favorite
DM's
dinosaur.
favorite.
All right, so I'm gonna try and be objective about this. It's as fast as you are. It can swim pretty good. It's got below average natural armor, but only slightly below. It's
That's strength.
It's got a base 18.
Its D6 bite and D4 claws aren't threatening to start with, but it is the only creature on this list that has a base 18 strength and also a +8 to strength from its advancement. It is the only creature that I have seen so far in this game that on its own, without any other scaling, hits 26.
Your fangirl is showing a bit there because
I'm
it is
trying to
lacking a lot of
not, but it's
special
hard.
abilities.
Yeah,
It's
but
It has
the
no special
strength
abilities.
is
It is
nice.
Its special
But
ability
yeah.
is that it is the biggest stat stick. It has the most strength. It also does not suffer Constitution. And
Yeah.
so
it has decent natural
here's the
armor.
thing. We talk about all the special things it can do, and it can do this, and it can do that. Well, this thing with this kind of stat array and its advancement, anything that requires strength, it's good at. Its special thing is being holy fuck.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is, I like because the way she was going, like, it's the only thing in this game. Is like, you're up playing it a little bit. It's 1 point higher than some of the dudes
Iguanodon.
that actually have some tricks.
It's 1 point higher than Iguanodon. It's 2 points
I
higher
can't.
than a few things tricks. Like the Mokele
Yeah.
Mbembe, arguably a better
Like-
creature.
I can't
Yeah.
believe we sat here comparing a spider to a fucking iguanodon.
It's fucking hysterical.
What the fuck
In
is
its
happening?
field, it is the
The
best stat
Iguanodon
stick
gives you a
when it comes to
thumbs
raw
up.
stats. It does not do the most damage, probably,
Yeah,
but
I
it
feel
will
like
have reliable hits, more reliable than just about anything else.
probably an A, maybe high B if it's not A, because while it doesn't have special things to do, you can probably just steroid its damage.
Me and Ashley are probably sat here going, it's probably an S.
I want to put an S so badly, but I'm trying
Well, then
to
we have to go back
not
and grab those things that are
justify it.
16 and 17 strength and pump them up too, because the 1 point of strength is definitely not worth the tricks.
Let's do A, Ashley. And then I'm going to browbeat you into putting my ferry into S.
We'll see. I can accept that it's A tier. I want to put an S so bad because it just has so much strength and so much constitution.
Yep.
Alright.
It might not be. Look, it might not be an S tier like a big cat or the big titanium squeezy snake or anything. But as a general purpose pile of numbers that you throw at things and you're not going to be mad about, it is probably one of the premier dinosaurs to do that.
It is raw stats the dinosaur.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, throwing raw stats at something is literally just something barbarians get away with.
Hell yeah.
It works very well for them too.
Yes.
It works extremely well. Stig.
Stag.
Stig.
Okay, so Stag has pretty good natural armor. It's actually weirdly fast. and its tail attack is actually threatening out the gate. Like 2d6 out the gate's not something to shake your head at.
Great sword out of the gate at level 1 is potentially in one-shot territory for literally anything you will fight.
Strength
Yeah.
10, kind of sad. Dex 18 is weird, considering it's a stag. Con 10 is also pretty sad. That said, you get plus 8 strength, so you go up to 18, down to 16 dex, and 4 con. It takes 6 levels. You are investing in weapon finesse until you hit level 7, and then you want to trade it out for anything else, like power attack. And
So, we're going to look at this low HP thing, but then I'm going to point you back to Umgak, who went toe-to-toe with a horde of things and things just couldn't touch him, or tank the boss for a while,
Yeah.
just on its dexterity and its natural AC.
Yeah.
Like, 1 to 5, yeah, the constitution is sad, but that AC will protect them. We have watched it actively protect things from things they shouldn't have really been able to do.
in
but it will.
fairness,
I mean,
that boss
that's
was
a
also
20
low rolling
AC at
consistently
base.
against Umgak. It wasn't just Umgak's
but-
AC, it was also
You leave
the
Umgak
dice.
alone. He's a good boy. He's the best boy.
He is a good boy.
You may say that, but like AC 20 at level 1 to 5 is just nice.
That's true. It is a baseline AC
that's
20.
And that's not counting throwing on any barding or anything.
True. Which you probably are
By the
throwing.
way, one
on-
thing that bothers me a lot about, sorry to go back on this, but about the Spino is that it seems to be the only dinosaur that they didn't give low light and scent to.
That is pretty weird, isn't it? Because
Everything
that's something
else on this list has had that.
So here's the thing about low light and scent. Those traits are actually inherent to being an animal. So the fact that they didn't give it is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, like when I said it had no special qualities, and then I went back up and read it, it's like, wait, it doesn't even have a special qualities entry.
Yeah, it doesn't have special qualities entry.
Justice for Spino, like, blow its nose, people.
I think this is one of those the DM looks at it and goes, "Oh, it's missing these things that are inherent to its creature type. Put them back in."
You know,
Like-
I kind of feel like it should have those.
Yeah.
But yes,
Absolutely should.
Stego, not terrible. I do like that tail attack when it advances.
2d8,
But,
and it gets a trip.
But that 18 strength, like, again, these numbers are so arbitrarily all over the place.
It is low for what it is. Like,
I'm getting sick of them being like, oh yes, this dinosaur is known for being chunky and tanky. So what are we gonna do with it? We're gonna give it natural armor, but its health pool is gonna suck.
Yeah, but it's represented by its dex giving it AC as well. Like the fact that it's chunky has been split between its dex and its actual AC. A lot of its budget went there for. I don't know why, but that's where the budget for its AC is. It's in its dex. I can only assume that it's there to be a mitigatable portion of its AC, to flat-foot it or something, because otherwise it would just have a ridiculous amount of AC. Like,
No,
who
no,
cares
I
about
was-
dex again?
I was talking about its AC, like everything that is chunky seems to have a good AC, but shite con.
yeah.
Like,
That is a
that's
very
the thing,
consistent
like-
thing that we've seen.
True.
Like
you're right.
these things that are supposed to be known for being chunky and hard to take down, and yet they all have garbage con but good armor. It's like,
Yeah. Absolutely.
The durability of a stego, though, is a bit of an illusion. It was display plates on their back and their tail. Like, a lot of these creatures that are like, oh, it's a big tank of a creature. I mean, yes, sort of, but a lot of their defensive was in displays. Like,
Okay,
big
what about the
chests.
Yankee, who also has 10
Yeah.
con?
Oh,
and
you can't
covered in bony
justify the
plates?
Yankee. I can't
Wasn't-
justify the walking tank.
wasn't there also like a turtle that only had like an 11 con?
The Arkellen, who was at 9.
Yeah. So
Right, okay.
Most of the turtles living at 9 or
Fine.
10 baseline.
Fine. I'm right, but
You're not wrong, but
the
also
justification does not apply here. You're right.
Yeah.
We're all right here, right now.
you're right
We're
on
all
the stag, but yes. And the gamified stag is really weird. I would much rather have 14 dex and 14 con because that would better represent what I'd imagine a stag being.
yeah.
With that said, alright, so it's a trip creature. I don't think it's as good as the wolf or the Sarah because it has lower strength. It's less
It's not
reliable
fun.
at it.
Not many things were as good as the Cerata, to be honest.
It has a scarier damage dice than either of the two, I think. But it takes longer to get into having trip.
The damage dice only really matters in the low mid, though. At a certain point, you're flat and you're on hits, and your procs are doing most of the work.
Okay. So where should we place this deck? Would you
A?
say that it's an A tier because
I'd
it gets
say-
trip later, or
I'd say it's a high B.
high B?
Yeah, maybe high B.
Okay. Its lack of stats does kind of hurt it a little bit, I think.
Yeah. Or having stats in the weird places.
Yeah. Okay,
Hey,
so
Stinky Boy!
we got a Styra.
Styracosaurus.
So again, we got that whole high natural armor, low con thing. This thing also just doesn't have good dex or strength though out the gate. It does have a respectable gore attack, and that gore becomes a 2d6. And reflexive strike. I actually remember what this one does. Okay, so it basically gets extra attacks of opportunity.
Okay,
That stacks with combat reflexes.
sure. If thinks Frost is going to save it with his fucking low con.
I mean, it goes up to 15, which is still not very good. So kind of subpar.
This is... reflexive... I think this is also a confused dinosaur.
I'm trying to remember if reflexive strike had additional wording.
Even if it didn't have additional wording, like...
I mean, basically built-in combat reflexes isn't terrible.
Reflexive
yes,
brace,
it's
reflexive shot.
Because it's extra 1 AOO is going to make...
It's an
life
additional
there.
3 attacks opportunity. Excuse you.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was thinking it was combat reflexes, you know, and then when its dexterity drops to a fucking 11.
No.
And I also like that you say, and it stacks with that. Yeah, but you'd be pretty goofy to try and stack those two when your dexterity is that bad.
Belt,
Yeah,
I guess.
I mean, yeah. I mean, okay, the dexterity will get better as the thing levels up because strength and dex do go up for every animal companion, no matter what they are, based on their inherent scaling. But yeah, stacking them might you probably don't need to. Realistically,
It's a confused
three
creature.
additional like attacks is probably enough.
I'm gonna just call it. I don't think its stats are good enough.
That's fair.
Even though it has ferocity and reflexive strike, like the reflexive strike would be nice if
If it
you
had
keep
stats.
having it do a 5-foot step back to force people to go through its range to get to it.
Yeah, and it has that
But-
problem of being a large creature that is stubby, short.
And
the
let's
ground,
also be
so-
fair, and any DM could absolutely call you out for like trying to make your creature with a 2 intelligence do 5-foot steps. I don't think that a creature knows how to make those kind of defensive moves, but
I
that
would
could go either
disagree
way.
with that, I would say it'd be more based on the nature of the creature that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like creatures that are known for being tactical easily would be able to make 5-foot steps. Creatures that are kind of dopey and would retreat probably won't.
If it's got this ability built in, it should know how to use it on an instinctive level. Now, a
think.
DM could argue no.
I'm pretty
mean,
sure its instinctive level is as things charge in to hit it, it smacks them to the fucking ground.
I mean, that would make sense.
Just gore things as they try to get close.
Well, so where do we want to place it? Is this a C tier or a worse because its stats aren't very good?
I'm gonna go with C tier just because the abilities are cute, but the stats just don't help it do that.
It does have
I'd
a lot of
say
natural
that's a
armor.
D. I'd say that's a D, because if its abilities aren't supported by the creature by itself, then it's not worth them having it.
I mean, I don't know if that's exactly fair. Like, I don't think its stats place it in B. It does eventually get a good strength. It does get a decent constitution, and it has a lot of natural armor.
You know
All
what?
right.
We're
Fine.
being rendered numb because of seeing all these dudes in the like mid to high 20s. That
Yeah, I agree.
18 is still not bad.
Fine.
I think C.
You saved it, Ashy. It gets to be a C for now.
Alright, so here's one of Waw's favorites.
There is Dinosaurus.
The Therizinosaurus. Alright. So, starting medium, goes up to large. It starts off as a weird dex-based creature, but eventually evolves into a strength-based one. It starts out with 2 claws instead of d6, but they become a d8, so you can turn them into great swords with a feat, and that's lovely, that's nice. Bleed on those claws is pretty nice. And Sweeping Strike is basically, it's kind of like Cleave, but it's more comparable to Whirlwind Strike. It can target up to 4 creatures in its reach and slap the shit out of them. It is a
mythic ability.
Yeah, it is a mythic ability, by the way. It is a bipedal creature, which is something that I was wanting to take account for a lot of these. But I'll mention it here because that means it has access to almost all the magic items in the game. It's got solid natural armor as well.
This is just one of those, oh no, it's surrounded, and then does a little spin, and everything's having a real bad time because of it.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, in a way, it's kind of like, what's it called? It's kind of like the, I can't remember its name. The fucking Pouncer with the 5 attacks.
Deinonychus.
That's it. It's kind of like that, but instead of doing it as a pounce thing, it kind of places itself in the middle and goes, ooh, everyone come attack me, and then next turn it just spins to win.
Also, being a tall creature means it has reach.
Yes, there is...
And the fact that you don't have to worry about pumping 7 different fucking attacks. It all just scales off the claws.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would put that, it's the same rank as the fucking Deinonychus just because of that.
It is a goddamn fear turkey.
Oh man, so you guys are gonna browbeat me to put it into S tier, but you made me put my baby into A tier? How could you? How could you?
Because unfortunately,
how dare you?
All your baby has is a belt of strength.
That stacks with belt of strength. It also has access to almost all the magic items, which is something that not a lot of these had because most of them are rhinos or quads.
Yeah, but guess what? You may say that, but I don't see your boy throwing people. So you lose the Yeet Rhino.
Yeet Rhino is a special fucking case, though.
Yeet Rhino's fucking weird.
Fucking the grumpiest DM right now.
I am very grumpy. Because you let Wa win here. I'm putting.
I very rarely win anything. I deserve at least one a year. It's nearly my birthday. Let me have it.
I'll consider that. Maybe.
My gift to you. You can have an S tier theory.
I'm still mad about it. Alright, so the Titanoboa. Titanoboa. Very versatile.
Your dinosaur can't even see in the dark. Like everything else.
I can't believe you went there again.
Gonna say, to say it lurks in swamps and shallow waters and hunts fish and it can't smell and it can't fucking see. No wonder this thing went extinct.
Damn.
It only does all that during the day when it's nice and lit. Carries a little torch.
Oh, this is bullying.
Yeah, you guys are just bullying me now. You made me
put
my baby in A tier, and now you're just bullying me. Alright, Titanoboa. So, it's very versatile on the ground. It can't fly, but that's pretty close to flight. It can climb, it can swim, all at the same speed that it can move at, which is a respectable 30 feet, so it's not slower than you. It has respectable natural armor. It's got a good starting strength, a good starting dex. Its con is a little low. It's also got a hysterically high wisdom score for some god-awful reason. It's one of the few snakes that has 2 intelligence. Its bite starts off pretty low at a D8 and scales up to a D6 on its own. So
yeah, it doesn't get much better.
Very small bite. It does get grab and it does get constrict. And it gets that +8 then a +8 boost in that strength, so up to 23 and 15 constitution, so it becomes okayly tanky.
I mean, this is one of those situations where we've seen this thing in play, and being surprised by its durability and damage output between
Yeah.
barding, armor spikes, blah 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 blah.
I mean,
This thing performs.
to be fair though, it's one of those situations where we can't really judge the one we saw in action, at least in the last game, because it was given an evolution where it got to combine with another thing on the list.
True, but before it pseudo evolved into a coatl, it was still performing really well. It was always on the front line. It was always trying to get in. It was always fucking something up. Like, a lot of that is down to it being attached to a druid that
Yeah.
invested a lot into it. But it is a creature that performs really well. I have nothing bad to say about a Titanoboa.
So all I'm going to say is we still have the Constrictor up in S tier. I think the Titanoboa takes its place.
I agree. Swap.
Probably, like the Constrictor drops down to A, and then the boa.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the Prion Sucus might have been better than the Constrictor, but then again, the Constrictor does still get a better boost than the Priano.
I mean, we're sort of sat here. A lot of these choices we've made have been a theoretical discussion about what they do, what they can do, and then we've seen this thing just tear up asshole.
So,
I don't think we've seen enough animal companions to make truly objective choices, but this thing good.
Yeah, we're judging based on stats, but we know Titanoboa will tear shit up. And I probably won't get an opportunity to play a Spino because I don't get to play in games.
And then when you finally do play in games, you make little woobies that don't have animal companions.
True. I have a lot of characters to play, okay?
Yeah,
that's the problem being a forever DM.
Stop picking the stupid cutesy ones that just do
Fuck
the
you,
Ulu party.
I'll do what I want. Anyway,
then don't complain about it.
Anyways, a trike.
It's a trike.
Alright, so trike, again. High natural armor, almost no constitution. Base stats are pretty terrible at 10 in strength and 13 dexterity, and it's got a D8 gore.
Let's just stick it with the other charges and move on, because that's obviously where it goes.
It's a worse charger, though.
I think it goes... Does it go into C? Because it doesn't have the stat sticking going on.
Yeah. Okay, because, yeah, even its powerful charge isn't really good enough to justify
Des is just sick of this shit now.
I mean, yeah.
I can hear it in your voice, you're just done.
Well, especially this one. What does it have? Nothing. It's got powerful charge. It's a charger. It's got the same shitty stats as every other, air quotes, tank.
Yeah.
Or they're gonna shit on its con because it can't tank too well, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so we have the Trudon up next. These are little bastards, aren't they? I don't even know how they make it up to medium, but they somehow do.
They're lucky the parallel poisoned.
They took all the size from the rock.
I guess, yeah.
Where's the poison?
They don't have a poison in this. They do have the easily trained rule, which is cute.
Okay.
I believe they're easier to train and they get like 2 additional tricks or something.
It's a slightly squishy dex-based thing. This is one of those. It's like the Dimorphodon. It's a This is a pack hunting creature. This exists to go in swarms.
What do you mean squishy? It's got the same health as a Triceratops.
Its natural AC sucks dick.
Its natural AC is it gets 1 at 4th level. That said, its 4th level advantage is +4 to 4, not +4 to 4, +4 to 3 stats. And now the only stat that it gets at a +4 to is dexterity. That's the one that really matters, going up to 21. But
this is a creature that really wants to exist as an angry pack of piranhas. That's what these do, and its stats reflect that, which makes it a bad companion.
Yeah, it's basically like the compy.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
So what you got to do is you got to get a group of druids, hunters, and rangers, and they all take these, and then you can have your little pack.
So you could make this hit reliably, but hitting reliably doesn't really do a whole lot for you if it can't do damage as well.
I thought of a way you can make it hit reliably.
The
barbarian grabs it by the tail and uses it like a flail.
Body bludgeon, fantastic.
Oh no, I'm thinking that 21 in dex is enough to make it hit reliably with weapons in S. So where are we going to place this? Is it going to D or is it going to F?
I think C.
C? Okay.
Yeah.
Why
Easily
didn't you have
trained.
the fluffy Trudon? Why is it this fucking shrink wrap scaly one?
I didn't find the fluffy one when I made this.
You suck.
I know. So the Tylosaurus, this is a mosasaur of some description, and it's in this weird world of it's actually weirdly fast on land. I don't know why. I don't know how this thing moves at a faster speed than a turtle on land, but I won't argue with the stats that it was given. And 50-foot swim speed, so okay, that's good. Um, Natural armor, slightly below average, but probably generally fine. It gets a D6 bite to start with, but that becomes a D8 with grab at 7th level. Its starting
Man.
stats aren't great, but Dex is pretty solid. It does go up to an 18 strength and 14 con. Water-based grabber.
For
Anybody,
fish.
anybody who's seen Walking with Dinosaurs or Jurassic World and seen the Moses in that are gonna look at this and be like, "I am so fucking disappointed."
Yeah,
As I said, C for fish.
I think it's better than C for fish. Like, if we were scaling this with the aquatics, it'd be an easy A tier. Just because.
Yeah, but that's because all the aquatics are F tier by fucking nature.
Just because of grab.
You do what you're gonna do with it.
these,
You do what you're gonna do with it, DM.
I mean, probably B tier.
I was about to
Okay.
say, that sounds like agreeing with me, but not wanting to argue with DM.
Exactly. That's exactly what just happened.
Enjoy your pity, B.
You know, that feels pretty bad. That hurts me. Okay.
Just slowly crushing the DM.
So the T-Rex, 30-foot speed,
It's your boy.
somewhat above average natural armor. Like, it doesn't start above average, but it gets there. The bite, kind of spooky at a D8, turns to a D6 with grab. It does
Double-
exactly what you'd think.
Hey, double damage on it though. Like
Double
Double
strength
strength
damage.
modifier damage, which starts
Yeah.
off not great, but it becomes a stat stick. It gets 22 strength. 14 con again. Dexterity, 16 to 14. It's
But
what
if
it
you're
is.
Light
roll-
vision and scent.
But here's the thing: if you're doubling strength modifier and you are considering its raw stats its strength, that's actually a 44 strength worth of fucking damage.
It is.
So it's like
Oh,
if you're
yeah,
wanting it for that
something like that.
purpose, which you are,
Yeah.
because it's a Rex with one big bite. Very good.
You're probably
Be good.
definitely going down Vital Strike because that's a logical thing to do with it. You're gonna boost its
Like
bite from 2d6 to 3d6. You're gonna make
Well,
it a grab
look at
monster.
power attack. Look at how power attack functions. You lose this much strength modifier. You know, it amplifies power attack.
yeah, no,
I don't think
this
this amplifies power attack. I think it just still treats it as the 1.5. The
Oh
only thing
wait,
that
I'm still
amplifies
looking
power
at.
attack is very specifically the fighter archetype that's coming to your mind right now.
I'm
thinking of third edition's fucking
Yeah.
supreme power attack. Blep.
there is some shenanigans you can do to just boost strength that I just feel that it getting twice its strength modifier is just a little ridiculous.
I don't
But
I
think
mean-
it is better than our premier grabbers.
no, that's what I was gonna say. I feel it's an
But it does do a
A
lot of damage.
tier because again, it doesn't do well. It does have grab though.
It does have grab, so I can't see it going lower than A tier because it's
Yeah,
a high strength grabber.
I kind of think it would probably take like the top spot in A. Maybe low S, but
Thing is, where do we
Does
put
it actually
Dimetrodon?
go into S? Does it actually
Where
go
did we
into S
put
though? 'Cause,
Dimetrodon?
like, wait, what?
We put a Dimetrodon in A tier for its bite, and now we have King of Bite.
I mean, we put Dimetrodon in A tier because its bite was wide range keen greatsword nonsense. Well, better
Yeah,
than
and
keen
this
greatsword
is-
nonsense.
And this is a great sword that doubles your strength modifier.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Does this go into?
Because
yeah, I think it goes the same tier as that, honestly, because there-
let's say you put a strength belt on it. That's a plus 12 strength belt in this thing's hand.
Functionally,
Everything you're doing is amplifying.
Yeah.
slapping it with legendary proportions and giving it +8 strength. Oh no, wait, that's +16.
Yeah, exactly. I think for the potential of what this bite is actually capable of, it's an S tier because it is Premier Big Bite.
Okay,
Sure.
Tyrannosaurus is A tier, powerful bite is S tier.
Yes, the class feature.
I'll go with that. Yeah, sure.
Yes, fantastic.
All right, you.
So
I don't know how to pronounce this.
Unitatherium.
Uni? Really?
Unitatherium.
Okay. Alright, so our natural armor starts at +4, goes up by +3, so this is
Oh, it's
similar to the
Wien.
Rex. Similar story there.
Whatever.
This is probably like one of the only tanks that also has outstanding constitution. Well, it's not the only
True.
tank, but we've got 17 off the rip, which is phenomenal, with an additional +4 behind it, so 21 con, so a really tanky boy. It's a stat stick, strength-wise. It doesn't have much special things going on. It's got a dangerous bite, and that's pretty much it. Stat stick, lots of HP, decent natural bulk, decent natural armor, big bite.
I'm thinking B or A because if you just want something with good stats and good bulk, there's a few things around here that will give you less bulk than this, but come with things they can do.
Yeah.
Like this is literally just you can stick it on the front line and let it sit there biting things.
Nibbles. So
I mean, a lot of the
nibbles.
time, that's all you really want. Because you want grab, well, you've got druid or hunter, you've got lockjaw. You want this, you can patch in abilities. What you really want, again, it's like with the Spino. You want a stat stick to vector in the things you can plug into the
Well,
fucker.
Yeah, like I'm
Yeah,
considering this.
but if we're
because
counting that, that's more
Yeah,
with the druid spell list. Everything
True.
is S tier.
Like
True enough.
if we're comparing
True.
this directly to Spino, for example, like this will have 2 more constitution, but 4 less strength off the rip,
Yeah.
and
No,
worse attacks.
I feel like B tier or A
Let's
tier
be
would
him.
be fine.
Yeah.
Let's not
It's-
overshadow our boy Spino here.
And so sad. Velociraptor. So Velociraptor, I don't know why they gave it a distinct stat line, but they did. It is a Deinonychus, basically.
Sheer popularity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think at this point they wanted the scaly raptor and they wanted feathery fluffy, since Velociraptor and a Deinonychus are literally the same creature. Velociraptors are just the old shrink rat version. Like a Deinonychus is just the what this fucker is. So I just think they wanted to they just wanted another skin.
Well, I mean, let's be fair. Like 90% of people probably never heard of a Deinonychus, but can absolutely know a Velociraptor.
True.
Yeah.
All right. So we're at the bottom of the list.
Let's
We
see
have
what
a-
Orc Cat can do.
The Warcat
a
of Rule.
Warcat is just another premier good fucking creature.
So
I
the
think it's
Warcat of
about to
Rule
dethrone Cat.
is basically Big Cat, but better.
Big Cat
Better
Orc
natural
variant.
armor. Better strength. I think it might have less dex. I think it has the same constitution, maybe. I'm failing to recall. And big stat boosts.
Grab Pounce Rake.
Yeah.
They are fucking hideous.
I
Man.
think based on their logic, they'll knock the lion down just because there can only be
Oh,
one.
man. Cat, Lion, you were doing so good, but then like ugly Orc Cat showed up.
Ugly Orc
The
Cat
fucking
is you, but
armadillo
better.
cat. Frankly, this thing is what I wish a Thylacoleo was.
It absolutely should be.
Holy
And
shit, we've done it!
That's the list.
Oh wait, there's wet boys. Damn, we've got one more of these to go.
There's wet
Do we-
boys, but we can knock them down the line a bit. There's also
I mean,
other
there's
flavored
Wet Boys, and then there's also the Plants, Vermin, Ooze, and Drake. Wait, we already did. No, we didn't do Drake yet. So yeah.
Yeah, Drake is going to be an interesting video.
They're all trash, but we wanted them to be really good. But they're so trash that they also make your class itself trash, just so you can have that trash. There, I summoned it up.
Oomph. Wow, the DM is just staring at you right now.
Hey, I wanted the Drakes to be good too. I really did.
I'm a resident dragon hater, so I'm
These aren't
indifferent.
dragons, they're Drakes.
They're the same thing.
All right, so do you have any-
Drake, dragon, worm, lindworm. They're all fucking types of dragons.
I mean,
we could
dinosaurs
save
are
this
just less
conversation for the
cool
Drake
dragons.
video. Let's be honest.
Dinosaurs are way cooler than dragons. What the fuck are you talking about?
Do we have any final things to say about the list as we currently see it?
Oh man, the lion lasting right till that last entry and then just getting knocked off. I bet the king was feeling real proud until that one.
Get
Yeah.
tapped off by the walkout.
I am still impressed that Wolf is still there. He's a good boy.
Wolf is only
Yeah,
there
you-
because it's a slightly more durable Ceratosaurus at this point.
And let's also be fair, it's super iconic. Like
It's also
if
very
it wasn't
iconic.
for if it wasn't for Dritz and the Panther, I'm pretty sure like Wolf would have just been the iconic one.
Probably.
Well, it's you've got the kind of got the holy trifecta of basic animal companions between bear, boar, and wolf. What are my
Poor
closing
Ranger.
remarks? Hell yeah, Ferry got in his ass.
Spino is A tier, and I'm sad about it.
Well, maybe if they gave it anything else the dinosaurs had, like the ability to see in the dark.
Well, they did give it Swim, which is
I should fucking hope so. It lives
pretty
there.
much the only special ability that it got. If you want to
Wait,
count
it doesn't even have. Wait, it's a semi-aquatic fucking dinosaur. It doesn't even have his whole breath.
It did
It's
not
not
get hold
amphibious.
breath, which is something that it probably should have. It did not
Yeah.
get low light
It's got
vision, which
half
is
a-
something inherent to being an animal. It did not get scent, which is something that all animals should have. It did not get
Actually, instead of you arguing, oh man, it should have been S because I love it, you should be going, shit, this fucker should have been F tier because what did they do to my boy? This is not a fucking Spino.
I mean,
It's
I'm not
giant
mad at it
stats.
because when you look at raw stats, there's nothing that actually shapes up to it. The T-Rex has one bigger bite. Spino has 3 attacks. The same strength things are kind of multiplied by 3 if all 3 can hit, and all 3 are probably going to hit because they can hit more reliably than anything else on the list.
Closing
that's not
statements,
hyperbole,
arguments about Spinos.
That's just
Hell yeah.
that's just stats.
But if we're just talking about sheer damage, then like that's not typically what you're taking an animal companion for, like sheer damage.
No, you take it for sheer stats because it enables you to do more things. Like, yes, that's cheating in this tier list, but those giant stats allow it to do more things with plug-in abilities stick on it. That is why its stat sticks are so good. Which again is cheating for this video, but it's true.
All right.
I don't know. I'm definitely with Ash here that a big, meaty, monumental stat stick is generally a lot more usable in just play. It's just all around good.
It doesn't
Well, we
have
can
versus-
save this
risks.
discussion for after the actual video.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I don't want to have it. I want to
That's
tweet.
fair.
I'll be there 3 hours.
Alright, well, if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, consider subscribing, maybe put some comments if you have your own opinions.
Please
And,
watch the video.
Bye!
They won't. It's 3 hours. Bye.